counties here in the Mid-South. You're looking at the radar screen right now. You can see a lot of those heavy storms right around Tunica and then farther east into Senatobia, right along the river in both Mississippi and in Arkansas. Again, here in ABC 24, we're doing a quick weather interlude. I'm Kevin McNamara. We're getting our Kit Thomas in here momentarily, who can certainly speak much more comprehensively about what's going on here with this tornado warning that we're dealing with here in the Mid-South on this Saturday evening. He's going to be in here shortly, but as you can see right now, we're talking about a tornado that has been spotted moving across the Mid-South here in northern Mississippi and in other parts of the region. You're taking a look at this radar screen here on this Saturday evening, about 8:13 p.m. You can see those storms moving across the Mid-South and a tornado sighting. We're just trying to keep you safe here, let you know what we know when we have it. You can see those storm tracker, those weather impacts moving left to right here on the screen. We're dealing with a tornado. You're taking a look at the chronological movements of the tornado across the Mid-South as it's coming west to east. You can see it over there from the Little Rock area trending eastward here into northern Mississippi. Looks like it's not quite getting up into Shelby County or some of the Covington County, other more northern regions of the Mid-South, the tri-state area, but obviously this is still an active situation and we're trying to keep you informed. Obviously, ways you can stay safe, get to a shelter if there is one available. There is, again, that tornado warning for Mississippi counties, Coahoma, Quitman, and Tunica. We're going to keep track of it as best we can. We've got our Kit Thomas here coming in here momentarily to keep you informed. Get away from windows, get into a safe place in your home. Anything, if you've got storm shelters, of course, those are going to be preferable. But just keep safe, keep informed. Here as this tornado moves across the Mid-South, particularly in northern Mississippi. You're taking a look at the radar right now. So we're letting you know about this tornado that we are watching here in the Mid-South. It's in a number of counties across northern Mississippi. Tunica, of course, most notably. You can see that's where some of the most significant risk and hazard is there. But other counties here in northern Mississippi and eastern Arkansas impacted as well. Again, tornado warning has been issued for the Mississippi counties of Coahoma, Quitman, and Tunica, as well as the Arkansas counties of Lee and Phillips until 8:45 p.m. A tornado has been spotted or detected on the weather radar, but you can seek shelter on the lowest level of a building in an interior room away from windows. So if you're in a mobile home, find a more substantial shelter. Again, we're talking about this tornado moving through the Mid-South, certainly very dangerous. Active storm season, storm watch. Now you're taking a look at our wind direction cameras here. The tornado moving counterclockwise, those winds. This watch, or warning, I should say, ongoing until 8:45. We've got our Kit Thomas here. He will be up momentarily to be able to keep you informed, certainly better than I can. But just so everyone is aware, we've got a tornado warning in effect in these northern Mississippi counties, Coahoma, Quitman, and Tunica. That is until about 8:45 p.m. right now. Some tornado safety tips: go to the basement or the small center of a room. Stay away from the windows and cover yourself. Go to the lowest floor possible or seek shelter in interior stairwells. Again, tornado safety tips. Hopefully something everyone has remained familiar with here in the Mid-South as we deal with these kinds of issues. Go to the lowest floor possible. Go to the basement or the small central room. Stay away from the windows. Cover yourself. Again, taking a look at our radar again. We've got our Kit Thomas here. He will be on momentarily. Now we're taking a look at the Tunica area, Helena, West Helena. You can see those storms moving. As it stands now at about 8:17. That tornado warning in effect here in the Mid-South. Hope you're all staying safe. Trying to keep you informed. Again, you can see weather impact alerts. Got heavy storms there across Tunica. And now we will have Kit on momentarily when he's ready.
All right, the meteorologist Kit Thomas here, back in the Weather Center at ABC 24. Hats off to Kevin McNamara for helping us out this afternoon. We apologize for some staffing issues that we're having here at ABC 24 that has led to this error in coverage. But we're resuming now with severe weather coverage here across northern Mississippi. If we can go ahead and take Max 1 in the control room, I would appreciate that. We can have that analysis up. Here we are. So here in Tunica County, we do have a tornado warning at present. This is just outside of the Helena, West Helena area. Tunica proper, unlikely to see any immediate impacts from this tornado, though you are still within that tornado warning. As we switch over to some velocity, we can see where the rotation has been showing up here recently as well. We do have a little bit of rotation there. It's just outside of Helena, West Helena. Like I said, it's already crossed the river south of Highway 61, south of Tunica. This is where we're going to see this potential tornado roll through within the next 15 minutes or so, probably within the next 5 minutes, honestly. So we're getting some of this information from the National Weather Service. It's an area of rotation, also into parts of Tate County as well. Thank you, Kevin. We have some area of rotation over there as well. North of the Senatobia area, could see a tornado possibly develop from that storm as well. We've got 2 areas of potential for rotation, so we're keeping a very close eye on that this evening. Many of us have had some storms through the morning, and we've got a second round that is much more vigorous than initial models were indicating. So that's why we're seeing a little bit of that more vigorous thunderstorm activity happening right now. So this thunderstorm is sort of, it's an interesting one, as we've got sort of a detached area here where we've had that rotation from the main body of the thunderstorm here. And then this supercell to the southwest of that one also has a fully joined supercell hook echo with that. So that's where we're seeing a bit of the rotation on this southwestern flank here, with that potential for a tornado to be on the ground at any moment. Of course, as Kevin McNamara was describing, heading to lowest level of your home, most interior room of your home, that's going to be the safest place to be. If you're in a high-rise apartment or in a tall building, getting down to the lowest level possible, away from exterior walls and doors and windows, and seeking shelter in a stairwell is also a good place to be in the event of a potential for a tornado. Looking back at the velocity signatures, these storms are still rotating. They've had some decent rotation signatures over the last 15 minutes here. You can see as just in the last 30, crossing out of Arkansas into Mississippi. We've got a couple areas of just some quick rotation. I will say, going back about a half hour, the scans back here around 7:57, likely what prompted the initial tornado warning, looked a bit healthier. It's not quite as organized now with the latest scans, but it could still cycle and re-up itself. A new tornado warning has just been issued for the Senatobia area here. This is into Tate County. So we'll get a full view here just so that we can get our bearings of where this is. This is in northern Mississippi. This is not including Memphis. Memphis at the moment, not within any severe thunderstorm threat at the moment. But that area we were just examining of some of that rotation beginning to develop there across parts of Tate County, that could develop into a tornado as well. So that's why the National Weather Service has issued a new tornado warning here. So get some of that information up on your screen, as we just had that new tornado warning issued until 9 o'clock this evening. So for the next 40 minutes or so, we'll see this potential for a tornado. This is going to head down towards the Sardis Lake area. A lot of folks might be out enjoying a little bit of the afternoon, even though it was a rainy start to the day. If you know anyone who's out there, maybe the signal's not so great, they might not be able to watch our stream, but at least text them. Text usually gets through better than data. So hopefully you can let them know if they're out there on the lake that they ought to seek shelter indoors. So 2 areas of rotation, the western one just outside of Helena, West Helena in southwestern Tunica County. That one is looking a lot weaker now, which is an encouraging thing to see. But these storms, of course, could still produce a tornado at any given moment. So you always want to treat them the same. I'm taking a look from the National Weather Service chat. There is a storm spotter in northern Mississippi who was showing a lowering on one of these storms. I'm not particularly sure which one he is observing there, but getting a closer look at that. It looks like it's from Crenshaw, Mississippi. So we'll get that in a moment. But with these thunderstorms, they could produce some hail as well as some straight-lined wind gusts. There's multiple threats that come with severe thunderstorms, so we always want to be aware of those. But at the present time, this is the primary threat is the tornado threat with these thunderstorms. So I'm trying to get a bearing on where Crenshaw is and where it would be looking from. It looks like it's just to the west of Sardis Lake here, so it would likely be looking north towards this storm. So where that report was shown was from here in central Panola County, looking north to northwest up towards this storm, just north of Senatobia. So that was a lowering, no confirmation at that moment. And as I've got a live feed of that, I don't see any connection to the ground, but there is certainly a wall cloud. A wall cloud is somewhat of a precursor to a tornado. It's a lowering of the cloud base where the rotation is pulling in moisture from the surface and bringing in a decent amount of cloud cover that it lowers at the bottom of the base. So that's where we're seeing some of this rotation right around in here, just between Coldwater and Senatobia, where we've had that area of rotation. We can see that's what we're seeing on this camera that unfortunately we don't have permission to share, but at least it's a tool that we can see for my eyes to sort of confirm or just keep a close eye on that storm and the potential for that as well. The tornado warned storm should be crossing I-55 between Coldwater and Senatobia within the next 5 to 10 minutes, according to the National Weather Service. So this is an area where we could see those thunderstorm rotational winds crossing through, where we could see a potential touchdown for a tornado. A tornado is, of course, only when it makes contact with the surface. The area of rotation within the thunderstorm is not the tornado, but we can definitely see that hook echo is getting a little more defined, connecting back with the main updraft of the thunderstorm. Looking back towards the one in Tunica County now, this one continues to weaken. Again, over the last 30 minutes, we've seen that as it's crossed into Mississippi, weakening signature on that storm. So hopefully that means it will be allowed to expire. But in the meantime, that tornado warning is until 8:45 p.m. So we still have another 20 minutes on that. And the thing is, whenever we see tornado warned storms, supercell thunderstorms, sometimes they will tighten up and then they will relax a little bit and then they'll tighten up again and produce potentially a second tornado. So we can see this cycling of supercells where they produce multiple tornadoes and they sort of skip along as they have their forward heading. So these thunderstorms, I'm going to get a forward heading on them for you so we can track them forward over the next little while here. So this, I'm starting off with the one in Tunica County. This is moving east at around 25 miles per hour. And the one towards Tate County is moving east around 35 miles per hour. So they're moving at different speeds at the moment. So I'm going to track this one out first here from the area of rotation over the next hour here towards the southeast. It could be in the Ballantine area by around 9:20. Again, that is outside of the warning, but that would be where we could see maybe it cycles back up and could still pose a threat there. Hamlin, it's pretty much right in the Hamlin area. Crenshaw, it's just outside the warning there, but northern parts of Quitman County, probably right before 9 o'clock. 8:50 to 9 o'clock, we'll see that area of rotation right there in the northern extent of Panola County. Now to track out the one in Tate County, pardon me, that's the wrong tool there. The one in Tate County here, just outside of the Senatobia area, between Senatobia and Coldwater, getting through the Sardis Lake area a little faster, could be in the vicinity of Oxford at the extent of this within about an hour's time. But Senatobia, it's happening right now, we'll say, eventually towards the Crossroad area there. That's around 8:42. Aiken, Mississippi, we're looking at 8:51. Glenville around 8:55, and around the Sardis Lake area just after 9 o'clock. So we could see some heavy rainfall happening before, but what I'm tracking is the area of rotation on the backside of these supercells. With these thunderstorms, of course, they can produce a tornado at any given time, so it's best practice to be sheltered. Anytime you get an alert that you're under a tornado warning, first seek shelter, then seek further information. Many of these storms are beginning to strengthen behind these pair of supercells at the moment. We see across Arkansas from Phillips County all the way up into St. Francis County now, right along the Interstate 40 corridor. We are seeing some more thunderstorms in that direction there. Those are what's sometimes called split supercells, where thunderstorms split and go right and left of their forward motion. So it's definitely a healthy environment that's happening here with some of these thunderstorms in southeastern Arkansas. Looks like on the latest scan, a radar presentation of this southern supercell looks a little more healthy, so I'm going to investigate the velocity on those storms, how the winds are rotating within it. And it may just be a product of the precipitation is wrapping around and it's not showing any better circulation. So that's definitely some good news. But here north of Senatobia, we've got an area of some broad rotation with a couple pockets of slightly tighter rotation here. The National Weather Service indicating that the reflectivity structure, which is your classic radar structure, it's presenting more of the hook feature, which we were discussing. It's not the best location for the radar to get a good picture of this potential tornado, but it's keeping with the trends of just the environment and with the motion of that storm, and of course with the radar presentation. They're keeping up with that tornado warning. But of course, they are also keeping a close eye on those storms that as they may redevelop a tornado or get a stronger signal of a tornado that could develop. Getting a little bit of a wide view here, I want to name some towns who are in the clear. Dyersburg, you're clear. Covington, you're clear. Blytheville, Wynne, Arkansas. Anyone up in Poinsett County, you are in the clear. Bolivar, Selmer, Memphis proper, and pretty much Wynne, Arkansas, we are in the clear. There is a tornado watch that was recently issued for parts of the area here. I want to bring to your attention. Go ahead and pull that up here on your screen so we can get that information there. Pardon while the graphic is loading. A severe thunderstorm watch has been issued. I believe I said tornado watch. I was mistaken there. Severe thunderstorm watch until 2 a.m. Is in place for all of our northern Mississippi counties and Lee and Phillips County there in southeastern Arkansas. Looking at the details of that severe thunderstorm watch, we could see, of course, the potential for a few tornadoes. A tornado or two is possible. 70-mile-per-hour winds and 2-inch diameter hail is also possible with these thunderstorms. Of course, there on the latest scan, it looks like that initial severe thunderstorm warning for Tunica County has been allowed to expire, now preempted by the tornado warning, which is in place there in Tunica County. Many of these storms are still moving southeast at slightly different speeds, but some of them are moving northeast back here into Lee and St. Francis County. These storms don't have the appearance of severe characteristics at the moment. They're rather raggedy cells there and aren't in the best environment. We would look at these southern storms here, where effectively we've got the environmental winds blowing in from the west. And some of these storms are curling into the stronger environment, which is to the south, and some are splitting away into a weaker environment where we've had cooler air through most of the afternoon. So these storms on the southern end are the ones which would be of more concern of further development of severe characteristics. So anywhere in the Phillips area, down towards Clarksdale, into southern Quitman County there, I'm going to keep a close eye on these storms as they may move in your direction within the next couple of hours here. Looking at that Senatobia thunderstorm, we do have a decent amount of lightning on that storm as well, just in the last 10 minutes. Not an insane amount, but still enough that that can pose a threat as well. I want to take a look back at the velocity signature, and it's still not presenting the most classic signature, but it is still something we need to be keeping in mind. We've seen some hail with these thunderstorms also. Coldwater area likely seeing some hail within this thunderstorm at the moment in places east of Senatobia right there along Mississippi 4 could see some hail developing in that area. So just getting an inquiry there of how large that hail is. Looks like it's about 1 inch in diameter, could be a little bit larger than 1 inch. Of course, temperatures are still quite warm as we did get up into the 80s, so it would likely melt before it reaches the ground at that size, but it could still be up to 1 inch in diameter by the time it reaches the surface. I'm going to just take a look at some of the temperatures around the area. Tunica is at 83, Oxford at 79 right now, Memphis at 80 degrees as well. We've got a decent amount of energy across northern Mississippi at this hour. As we look at the Cape, that's the convective potential energy available within the atmosphere. It definitely looks like we've got plenty of it here across the Mid-South that has definitely resurged after that morning severe thunderstorm complex came through and things began to ramp back up recently. So with these thunderstorms, of course, we've got that severe thunderstorm watch across northern Mississippi and into Lee and Phillips County, Arkansas, and areas outside of our viewing area. Again, that's 70-mile-per-hour winds, and looks like they're increasing the hail size on the Tate County storm. The severe thunderstorm watch could have up to 2-inch diameter hail, and they are upgrading it to ping pong ball sized hail, which is 1.5 inches in diameter. So 1.5 inches, that's large enough to dent your hood and possibly produce some more damage. You can see a little blink there from that tornado warning with that upgraded hail risk within that thunderstorm. So the hail now up to 1.5 inches. The wind speed's not the primary concern with that thunderstorm. They don't have an indication of wind speeds being a main threat on the tornado warning, though the severe thunderstorm warning does still have that 60-mile-per-hour wind possibility on that as well. Keeping a diligent eye on the wind speeds on these storms. Of course, they've been bringing some rotation around the area. Down south of the Tunica area here, it really isn't looking very well organized anymore. It looks like it has fallen apart, and that circulation is no longer a main threat. So I'm going to focus more now on the Tate County storm with less of a concern on Tunica County, but I will still keep a half eye on that one as well. So it has moved on from Senatobia and Coldwater. Now it's moving into eastern Tate County here. So we'll zoom in, we'll get some roads there. East Tate Road, Pogville Road there, Luxahoma Tyro Road, and Old Memphis Oxford Road are a few roads there showing up within this tornado warning. So if you're anywhere around these areas, we do urge you to seek shelter. Some areas where you can seek shelter, if you have a basement, that's going to be a great spot to be in. The basement or the smallest, most interior room. So an interior closet, an interior bathroom, something small and sturdy within the interior of your home. You don't want any windows or doors or exterior walls that lead to the outside there around you. Covering yourself, bringing with you a helmet, a baseball helmet for your kids if you got them, Biking helmet is always good as well. A football helmet, if you have it from last season as well. These are all good things that can protect your head as you go to your shelter place. Switching back to the storm winds here, just to keep a close eye on how those storms are rotating. We do have the potential for some of those storms to cycle. We've mentioned that a time or two, where these storms can sometimes strengthen quickly and bring a threat for a tornado to touch down rather quickly, even if it doesn't look terribly organized at the moment. So that's definitely something we're keeping a close eye on. Looking like it's getting a little more organized now, as over the last few frames here, we have less and less of the gray colors in between our peaks of red and green. And now we're getting a much closer sampling of inbound winds to outbound winds. So when I'm saying inbound and outbound, these are storm winds that are moving north here towards the radar site in Millington, north of Memphis. And these are winds that are moving south away from the radar. And that's where we can get that transverse motion that implies the rotational winds within that thunderstorm. So that's where we're looking at the moment. Sometimes you can get red and green and they mean other things. Sometimes they can be a non-rotating updraft. They can be a downdraft. Sometimes it could be a false signature, but just looking back at the radar, that's the area where we have that rotation right in here, right at that hook echo of the thunderstorm. So that's the area where we could see some of that tornadic potential. Also, right here, we're seeing some of those pink shades showing up. That's likely where we've got a decent hail core within this thunderstorm. So I'm going to switch over to the hail detector. This does lag behind, but as it takes just a little longer for the radar algorithm to process it. But judging by the motion, it does look like that is going to be where that hail core is moving at the moment. National Weather Service is allowing the tornado warning to expire as it goes sub-severe. That's likely for this storm here in Tunica County, which you can see side by side here. The Tunica County storm heading into northern Quitman County storm is canceled. It is no longer in effect. It may take our system a few minutes for it to drop off, and it may remain on there, but we'll go ahead and inform you that this storm is no more the main threat, and we are only looking at this one here into eastern Tate County at the moment. So we'll continue with that. Of course, like we said, it could be moving towards the Sardis Lake area. So if you are familiar with anyone who is around that region, or perhaps is out on the lake, making sure that they're getting in, as of course it is getting dark. I'm sure they could see the lightning from the lake at this hour, as we're starting to see the sun go down and darkness falling here across northern Mississippi with these severe thunderstorms that could be producing tornadoes, and a single tornado warning active, one set to expire as it is no longer showing up with the threat for a tornado. Looking at a camera, as I mentioned, out of Crenshaw, that's in northern Panola County. As the camera pans around, it's showing some decent flashes of lightning with that thunderstorm, as well as some rain showing up with that. So some of the rain coming in from the Tunica County storm right around in here. That's Crenshaw right there. This is where the storm was seen from the southwest. I got a better view of where it's looking from. It was looking up this direction earlier, and in that area, that's where we saw a brief wall cloud from that area. It was right around the vicinity of Coldwater and Senatobia there in central, in northern Tate County, but did cross over the Arkabutla Lake area there as well. So we're keeping a close eye on just all these thunderstorms in the area here. Many of them coming out of southeastern Arkansas now with the potential for some stronger winds. Not necessarily severe winds, but just with the nature of the heavy convection we're seeing, some of those could be pretty gusty, and definitely looks like we've got some hail developing in this thunderstorm here in northern parts of Phillips County. Just with the abundance of lightning and the bright reflectivity, it's likely producing some hail within that storm, right between the Rondo area and Lexa and Marvell. Not quite to the Helena, West Helena area. This is heading northeast, unlikely to produce any hail for Helena, West Helena. That will likely move into Lee County here within the next several minutes. So we'll keep a close eye on that. Definitely seeing some growing hail within the thunderstorm here across Tate County. So I want to get a sample of what our radar is estimating the hail to be now within that storm. So it's estimating up to, we'll call it 1 1/4 inch, 1 1/3 inch. So that is paralleling what the National Weather Service was indicating with their latest update, upgrading it to 1 1/2 inch diameter hail, about the size of a ping pong ball. So that's definitely some impactful hail that could do some damage. So if you are in this area, hopefully you're seeking shelter. Hopefully you've got your animals inside as well. Make sure you're protecting them with these storms here in this area. So of course with these storms, they are still producing some strong winds within them, and it looks like we're starting to see some stronger winds within that area of rotation right there around Highway 4 east of Senatobia. Senatobia, we can go ahead and give you the clear for this particular area of rotation. It's no longer a threat for you, but Luxahoma Tyro Road, this is right here in eastern Tate County. This is likely where we could see a tornado potentially drop down and move through this area very, very shortly. The National Weather Service is also tracking the hail in Phillips County, which we were just mentioning, could go severe very shortly. So we're keeping a close eye on numerous thunderstorms this evening. It doesn't look like it's got any strong winds with this, nor any decent rotation. But as we were looking at the hail just a moment ago, definitely showing up with some hail within northern parts of Phillips County. Our radar estimates up to 0.9 inches, so just a bit above nickel-sized hail. Looks like it's falling apart a little bit, but it might be just between scans here. So keeping a close eye on those thunderstorms. Again, not much to say for the rotation, just the fact that it's got some decent hail. As we're now at 8:45 this evening, that tornado warning for Tunica County has dropped off our maps. Of course, that has been expired for about 5 minutes now. And our only warning here in northern Mississippi is in Tate County, moving into parts of Marshall County, Panola County, and Lafayette County there, heading towards the Sardis Lake area. So if you live around Sardis Lake, or if you live within 15-20 minutes of it on the northeast shores, that's definitely an area you want to be aware that you are likely under a tornado warning at the moment. Again, Senatobia no longer going to be impacted from this area of rotation. We can see that classic supercell structure. We always reference the back of our left hand. When you look at the back of your left hand, if you can do the Spock fingers, you sometimes get these two lobes on the northern side with the hook as your thumb on the back of your left hand. So that's definitely the supercell structure we see with the hook here and your first group of fingers, your second group of fingers there. We've got that Spock hand look to it at this hour. So that's definitely a healthy thunderstorm. And these thunderstorms don't usually spin down and blow themselves out. They usually have a little more sustained energy with them. As we update that latest radar scan, still showing some decent signs there on radar. And we'll wait for that latest scan of the velocity to come in. But it looks like it just dropped south of Highway 4, heading towards Yellow Dog Road to Luxahoma Tyro Road. Zooming in even closer, I'll see if I can get a few more of these. So Lewis Chapel Road, Cliff Williams Road, Billingsley Road, Mount Vernon Road, eventually towards the Jackson Road area, Manuel Brownlee Road. These are all areas where, as we get that latest rotation update, Lyles Road, we could see some areas there that could get that potential for a tornado to roll through. Smart Road as well is showing up very near these this rotation signature. So whenever we see these kinds of storms in the Mid-South, of course, they can produce tornadoes. We've seen a path of rotation within these two thunderstorms here of the last hour or so. If I just loop that, you can see that they are moving southeast. So they're moving away from Memphis. Memphis, we're pretty much done for the severe weather threats for the evening. Northern Mississippi definitely ramped up the severe weather threats to a more intense degree than was initially indicated by models. We've had some difficulty with models in the last several months here, as we've had some cuts in the National Weather Service that have led to fewer balloon launches, which leads to degradation in the model representation of severe thunderstorms. But in Tate County, the National Weather Service is indicating that rotation will likely drop a tornado, or it would not be surprising to see this. So if we go ahead and take this full here, I want to just step off camera so I can go and grab something as well. But this area of rotation, again, it's in eastern parts of Tate County, moving towards Lafayette County. There's a couple other counties also clipped within this tornado warning, but the downstream impacts will be more likely across the Sardis Lake area there in Lafayette County, and could continue on towards the Oxford area. So if you know anyone who's out towards the Ole Miss area, making sure that they are aware of the severe weather situation that we have this evening, and we could see a tornado. Now, of course, a tornado can cross water. Technically, it would then be named a water spout, not a tornado, but they are effectively the same. And body of water is not always a protector, so to speak, of a storm that is coming through a lake. So, of course, a river, a lake, any body of water can still have a tornado cross it. Funny enough, several years ago, there was one which crossed through the Memphis area that jumped the river and continued. I believe that was back in the 1980s, if I remember my history that I've studied about the severe weather here around the Mid-South. But that thunderstorm, as I said, still has that decent area of rotation and an impressive hook echo signature, some decent hail within that storm as well. We've seen those storms producing hail, and the hail has been increasing. I'm taking a look at the debris detector, and there really isn't anything to show here, so that's some good news. But we'll keep a very close eye on that, just in case the area of rotation does tighten up and does potentially produce a tornado. That will be one of the tools we can use to show if this storm is on the ground or not. I do want to take a moment to investigate a cross-section of this thunderstorm here, just so that we can get a sense of the storm and its dynamic nature, just like where the hail is. We can use this cross-sectional tool here to show that. If I get that tool here, we can sort of scan from the backside of the storm, a very shallow storm on the back edge. It gets pretty tall. We get up to around 43,000 feet, I'll estimate, possibly up to 45,000 feet. So a very tall structure. And you can see on the western side of the camera here, this area here, this is the rotating updraft. So where we've had that rotation signature on radar, that is the rotating updraft, and this is where we produce the hail. Right around 20,000 feet is where the hail is being produced at the moment, and that would then fall forward and down into this fan shape, this sort of the wings of the forward flank downdraft. So that's where all of the hail will be falling down, along with the heavy rain and potentially any strong winds out ahead of that thunderstorm. So definitely seeing 1,000 feet. Looks like it is reaching the surface as well, as we see some of those maroon to purple shades showing up. Definitely reaching the surface with the hail, but continuing to produce hail in the upper part of that thunderstorm. So you can see, again, that backside of that thunderstorm still producing that area of rotation. Getting back to radar here, I'll switch things back around to a full view of our coverage area. Again, if you're north of I-40, you're in the clear. We're not looking at any severe threats there at the moment, and the tornado threat is exclusively in northern Mississippi at present. So we're keeping a close eye on northern Mississippi. Of course, where you see the gray area here, the brighter gray, these are the counties which we do cover. Outside of this, south and east, we do not cover, and those are other television markets that will cover those as soon as these storms leave our coverage area into those neighboring markets there. But eastern Tate County is where we've got that area of rotation, which we can clearly see pretty well defined there on the velocity signature. Looking from another storm spotter here, this is James Bishop. He definitely has a decent view of the underbelly of that thunderstorm. It's difficult to tell with it being now pretty late at night if there's a lowering or not, but he's definitely keeping a very close eye on this thunderstorm here in eastern Tate County. The National Weather Service is creating a new tornado warning that will go downstream. It will be in portions of Marshall County, but predominantly into Lafayette County here. So we'll be waiting for that storm, but if you are in northern Lafayette County, go ahead and be ready to seek shelter. I'll go ahead and encourage you to take action now. Again, remembering to bring a helmet, bring a pillow, bring a heavy blanket, something to cover yourself with. That can sometimes help to prevent debris from injuring you to a certain extent. Also, wearing a helmet can prevent your head from having any injuries as well. So there's that new tornado warning just now issued here. We'll go ahead and pop that information up on the screen. They've got potential for ping pong ball sized hail, half dollar sized hail. That's 1 1/4 inch diameter, so 1.25 inches, and the tornado potential. Radar indicated at this moment, not showing any confirmation on radar. We can confirm a tornado via radar products, but looking at the debris detector really doesn't show anything. We would be looking for an area within the circulation, which is right here in eastern Tate County. We would be looking for an area where the colors drop down to these greens or especially into the dark blues. A bright spot amidst all of this noise and all of the maroon color here. All the maroon is basically just rain. All of this in here where it's a little bit of noise into the orange and yellow, that's likely the hail. Hail also shows up as a little bit of noise on our debris detector, but it doesn't look like we're seeing any tornado threat or any tornado confirmation. We still have the tornado threat given by the rotation, the strong rotation that we see within that thunderstorm. Another thing to update you on is here into St. Francis County along I-40. They are drawing up a new severe thunderstorm warning, likely for the hail that we've been seeing developing with this thunderstorm over the last 20 to 30 minutes here. Just in the last 20 minutes here, we've seen some of those that reflectivity signature getting a little stronger. So as this system is evolving, some of the things that I may have said before as that time was not a severe weather threat, but now we're seeing that threat entering into the Memphis area. A new severe thunderstorm warning just now issued here, which does include Memphis. It also includes South Haven, the Midtown area within that severe thunderstorm warning, but not to forget West Memphis, southern Crittenden County, also within that severe thunderstorm warning. This is for 1 inch diameter hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds at the present. So this is where we could see that storm getting a little bit stronger at this hour. Excuse me. So the Marion area, you are also under that severe thunderstorm warning. Towards the Walls area here, eastern DeSoto County, Hernando, South Haven, not quite to Olive Branch. But this is what I was mentioning earlier about how we have these split thunderstorms where we've got the environmental winds coming out of the west. Some are turning north, some are turning south. A northward turn tends to turn away from the tornado parameters, but we can still have strong downdraft winds, which is what this thunderstorm here in parts of Lee and St. Francis County is performing. But the tornado threats are more prominent when they turn south into the better environment. And that's what we're seeing across Tate County into Lafayette County at this hour. We're coming up now on our 9 o'clock broadcast on the CW, and we are covering programming on ABC 24. So we do apologize if we're covering your programming this evening, and we will take this severe thunderstorm threat through to the end until they expire or until they move out of our viewing area. So with these thunderstorms, we've had a couple of areas of rotation. One that was in the Helena, West Helena area moved into Tunica, greatly weakened, and that's what we see with this particular thunderstorm over here into Quitman County and northwestern Panola County. It's really not doing much anymore. It has completely disorganized. Now this thunderstorm here on the eastern flank, that is where we're starting to see, or continuing to see really, the better features and more healthy updraft with that rotation signature still in place. Looking at the radar site from near the Hernando area, that's the terminal radar site for the airport. It's in an area of some, it looks like some obscured noise, so it's difficult to see a closer, lower level view of that area of rotation, but still seeing a decent rotation sign, even from the Millington radar site. So if we go up here to the north of the Memphis area, we find Millington. That's where the radar site is. It's looking about 50 miles away. So it's looking a couple thousand feet up into the atmosphere. So we're looking at the mid-levels of this thunderstorm. We can't see the base of it, but we're still seeing some decent mid-level rotation. So that indicates we have a good, healthy column of air that is rotating, and that is one of the key factors for tornadogenesis, for a tornado to drop down from a thunderstorm. So as we're coming up on 9 o'clock now, we'll take a moment to reset and reintroduce some viewers who may be tuning in to the CW this evening for CW 30 News at 9. We are going to be preempting the newscast until the severe weather threat is over for some severe weather coverage this evening. So we'll have that bit of housekeeping, a bit of just FCC regulation that we identify at the top of each hour for that in just a moment. But with this, now we are at 9 o'clock this evening. I'm meteorologist Kit Thomas for ABC 24 and CW 30. You're watching us live on air on WATN and WLMT, as well as on our streaming platforms as well. We've had some severe thunderstorms this evening, a second wave after this morning as well. As much of the atmosphere got recharged quite vigorously after our 6 p.m. newscast ended. And unfortunately, we were off air briefly at the beginning of that thunderstorm threat and the tornado threats. Some staffing issues have precipitated some unfortunate situations here, and we do apologize that we had an interruption in our coverage, but we are going to continue with this until the end of this tornado threat this evening. The National Weather Service indicating that they are adding a tornado possible tag on a severe thunderstorm warning here in St. Francis County. So the thing is, as these storms are getting farther and farther away from other storms, as I've mentioned a time or two, usually when they turn north, they have less of a threat, but as they get more and more independent and into a solitary environment, they can sometimes take on better characteristics of rotation. And the National Weather Service is under the impression that that is the case for this storm here. So I'm keeping a close eye on that. I don't see anything that jumps off the page as a definite area of rotation, but they're indicating that it may be the very subtle signs of that initial rotation here. So I want to look at our rotation track, that was the hail track, and see if there's anything showing up on the algorithm for that. It doesn't show up to my eye at the moment. Of course, we've had the better rotation, the best rotation really here across Tate County, Mississippi. So that's where we've been focusing our attention here over the last 10 to 15 minutes. I will say, though, the latest scan does reduce the mesocyclone. The mesocyclone is the rotating updraft, the circulation within the thunderstorm that precipitates the tornado there. Off to the north, though, Memphis and parts of Shelby County and into DeSoto County are both under a severe thunderstorm warning this evening. So with that, we are still keeping a close eye on this. We do have a severe thunderstorm watch until the wee hours of tomorrow morning here across northern Mississippi. You'll get that info on your screen there. Severe thunderstorm watch until 2 a.m. This is mainly along and south of I-40 at the moment, as we've started to see some thunderstorms leaving the northern extent of the initial severe thunderstorm watch. So Memphis is now under that potential for a severe thunderstorm to roll through your area. That severe thunderstorm warning is now, I'll get that information on screen here for you. That is now with the tornado possible tag, and this is going to be in place until 9:45 this evening. So for the next 40 minutes or so, we're still going to be here with that severe weather threat, and we may wind up preempting our 10 o'clock newscast as well, depending on how these thunderstorms continue to evolve this evening. Then also we have this tornado warning into Tate, parts of Marshall and the corner of Panola County, as well as the northern quadrant there of Lafayette County. That's until 9:45 this evening. Also 9:45, same time as the severe thunderstorm warning there, moving towards the Memphis area. I want to take a look just at some features of that thunderstorm, as it's starting to look a little less organized here across Tate County, now moving into the Sardis Lake area. It's been trending down here just over the last 2 scans before it has arrived at the lake. So that may be a good indication there. We'll have to see how things evolve with this. So that thunderstorm, it's several thousand feet where the radar is sampling that mid-level rotation. So that storm really doesn't look like it's quite. It doesn't look quite so organized as it did previously. There, storm chaser James Bishop is saying that there's a strong rear flank downdraft with this storm and heading into Lafayette County. That's of course where we've started to see some of that area of rotation weakening. I'm wondering if there's a better view from separate velocity products. It really doesn't look all that impressive, but we do see, at least on the radar site here, notice here on this backside, this is where we're seeing sort of a cut in on the backside of that thunderstorm. It's not a smooth curve from the western side back to the hook echo. If it were a little more of a smooth curve, that's where we see your classic supercell structure. But instead, we have this this in cut here and a more of an appendix shape of a hook echo. So that's an area where we call the rear flank, the backside of the thunderstorm. It's a downdraft where it's the environmental winds coming in on the backside of the thunderstorm, dropping down under it, and could undercut. That can sometimes enhance a thunderstorm. At this time, it looks like it is weakening that storm, so that's definitely something we're keeping a close eye on, as well as we could see that storm weaken by that rear flank downdraft. And we have seen that latest area of rotation just really less organized. It's not quite as strong anymore, and these storms are really not showing up with that main threat. The severe thunderstorm warning up here towards the north, though, has had a bit of an upgrade with that severe thunderstorm threat, up to a potential of 1.5-inch diameter hail and still 60-mile-per-hour winds. Those storms, of course, can bring some decent hail size. I'm trying to find that product once more so we can get an estimate from our radar site here. So recent estimates within our system puts it at 1 inch, but our system tends to lag behind a little bit from some of the products that the National Weather Service can use. And it looks like there's a report of a wall cloud still visible from Batesville. We've got excuse me, I believe I was miscrediting the large hail. The severe thunderstorm warning with the 1.5-inch hail is now moving into Lee and Phillips County rather than. No, I was correct initially. Apologies. There's several storms all getting warned here, and my graphics are freezing up at the moment. But into portions of eastern Lee, St. Francis, Crittenden, Southern Cross, DeSoto, Tunica, and Shelby counties. So that is the one that is moving towards the Memphis area. That is where we have 1.5-inch diameter hail. Here, where we are looking right now, this is into portions of. This is southern Marshall. Had a lot of updates here into Lee County, Coahoma County, Tunica County, and Phillips County. This is where we're looking at 1-inch diameter hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds. So we're having some trouble here with our graphics, so do bear with me here as I just reload that. Should come back here in just a moment. All right, so it looks like it's come back now, so we can clarify. This is the thunderstorm that has the 1.5-inch diameter hail possible moving into southern Crittenden County. So West Memphis, Memphis downtown, likely going to see some large hail, possibly some damaging hail moving in very, very soon. It's not quite to the considerable tag, but it does have the tornado possible tag and the potential for 1.5-inch diameter hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds. Just keeping a close eye on some of the information from the National Weather Service on these storms. They have trimmed out a part of Panola County there. It was effectively not really heading into Panola County. It was just right there at sort of the junction of several counties here. So there's a county line here, there, and there, and this is where we've seen that tornado rolling through. So this area over here, I lost my lines there, but this is Panola County. This is into Lafayette County, Marshall County on the northern side, just being hit with heavy rain and the hail at the moment, and now Tate County on the backside of it. Tate County is now in the clear for that tornado, but it does look like the hook echo is getting a little bit more structured here, some better inflow there, possibly that rear inflow cut here, maybe not as dramatic of a inhibitor now, as we still see some of that rotation here as well on this southern flank of the storm. So it's not completely died yet, but it is still showing some signs of weaker rotation, especially compared to previously. If we just back this up over the last 20 minutes or so, we saw much stronger rotation here in eastern Tate County. Now it is much weaker, though it could still spawn a tornado at any given time. One thing that happens over water, there's no trees, there's no hills, there's no wind breaks. Sometimes we can see a water spout more easily than a tornado formation. So it's still something that we need to be concerned about here on the eastern end of Sardis Lake. I've turned off the radar so that we can just see a little bit closer into where on Sardis Lake this is. So this is up towards the Abbeville side of the lake, on the more shallow end of the lake, between Highway 310 and eventually to cross to Highway 7 here. Lots of county roads here that lead up to Sardis Lake there. Again, this is on the northeast end of the lake, on the shallower end of the lake. Excuse me. These thunderstorms have been producing a decent amount of lightning as well, so we're keeping a close eye on that, as we could still see that lightning reach pretty far out from any of these individual storms. Though they aren't crawling the anvils terribly far at the moment, it is still possible that these storms could produce that sort of a threat. I want to look from the Midtown camera here, see if we've got any flashes of lightning. It looks like we've got a few flickers out there as well. Let's see if I can't turn the camera a little wider and a little more towards the west-southwest here. So I'll get that pulled up in just a moment here. But as we get back to the radar, of course, we've seen some of that area of rotation still being monitored on this storm around the Sardis Lake area. I also see some stronger winds here within parts of St. Francis County. These would be non-severe, as they're not showing up as as upwards of 58 miles per hour, but still 50 mile per hour wind gusts could still do some amount of damage, especially if it's an area that's been hit and pummeled by lots and lots of thunderstorms. Many of us can see some trees down, possibly. Maybe a bit of some branches getting blown down if they've been impacted by more of those strong winds recently, especially with the storms we had earlier today. They may have weakened some thunderstorms as well. Impressive view from our Midtown camera. I want to take you back to that. This is looking from Midtown, from the east end, sort of the transition from Midtown to downtown, right there in the medical district. But you can see very clearly a ton of lightning. It's taking a minute to zoom over there. We see a few of those bolts of lightning on the outside of this. You saw one just right there crawling on the outside of the storm. Some cloud-to-cloud lightning and some frequent cloud-to-ground lightning, as well as some low-level clouds that are showing up here in between Memphis and this thunderstorm. But some very frequent lightning showing up, so that's definitely an indication of the strength of this thunderstorm this hour. Definitely a lot of ice. So one thing you need for a thunderstorm to be producing lightning is a difference of charge that is produced by the raindrops at the base and the ice within the cloud, the ice crystals. The wispiness of the anvil is ice, and the billowiness of the lower part of the thunderstorm, the cumulonimbus portion, that's where the raindrops form, and that separation is where we get that charge separation and produces a lot of internal lightning within this thunderstorm. So definitely an intense storm showing up at the moment here as that is moving into southern Crittenden County now. We can take a look at what the cloud-to-ground lightning shows up as just within this thunderstorm. I'll get an investigation here on that at the moment. Just within that single thunderstorm in the last 10 minutes, there have been 66 cloud-to-ground lightning strikes, but this does not count the intra-cloud lightning that we were seeing within that thunderstorm. So cloud-to-ground lightning is the lightning that is dangerous to use. That is where it connects back to the ground. Also towards the Helena, West Helena area, this is into southern Lee County, into northwestern, really it's northwestern Phillips County. We've got some thunderstorms there. The remnants of a previous tornado warning now moving into northern Panola County with that lightning, and moving right across Sardis Lake is where we have that current tornado warning, where we've had some of that rotation. Still showing rotation, but not quite as strong as we had seen earlier across eastern Tate County. Tate County not drawn out of the warning at the moment. but it is still likely to drop off here soon as soon as the National Weather Service has the opportunity to cancel that edge of the warning. But northern portions of Lafayette County, this is where we're seeing that's potential for a tornado. So Abbeville, I want you to go ahead and take your shelter now as this area of rotation is moving in very quickly. This could be moving near Abbeville, possibly just south of Abbeville, along many of these county roads. We can add a few more on here. County Road 141, it looks like if I can get a road to pop up here, the College Hill area, also within that area. It looks like the National Weather Service has actually allowed that tornado warning to expire a little bit early, so that's definitely some good news. They've canceled that tornado warning, that area of rotation by their judgment, and I would agree the rotation just not showing up quite as prominent any longer, but still an area we'll keep a very close eye on at this hour. Now we're starting to see the transition more to the severe weather threat, the main threat now. They have the potential for 60-mile-per-hour winds, and it looks like it's getting closer into Crittenden County now, closer to the radar site. We're starting to see wind gusts up to 58 miles per hour there. So some of these thunderstorm winds could be very, very localized, very isolated in their impacts. But the West Memphis area is pretty much downstream of this area of those storm winds that are starting to get a little more intense. So that cluster right here seems to be taking a more northerly trajectory, but this area here could still go towards the West Memphis area. So anywhere here, West Memphis and north along Interstate 55, likely to see the impacts of this thunderstorm with those strong winds very, very soon here. As I pressed the wrong button, I apologize. We'll zip back in here, just looking at our viewing area. So, of course, with these thunderstorms that we've got, they're going to be in place for the next several hours. Of course, it is 9:19 at the moment as these storms are still rolling through the area. If you were planning on watching our coverage of the daily news here on CW30, we apologize. We are covering the news hour this evening. If you are planning on watching a program on ABC 24 this evening, we are also covering that. We do apologize, but we do need to bring this information out as well. So looking at the Memphis area, of course, Memphis downtown, we were just looking there from the Midtown camera. And for some reason, it's actually, there we are. Got it back up to the live now. Still seeing some infrequent lightning on this camera view. We can see another flash there recently. These thunderstorms still producing some decent lightning within them. Some pretty frequent lightning has been showing up on that storm over the last 10 minutes or so, 15 minutes, as that storm has been growing. Now, we've mentioned, of course, the winds. The hail is also a potential threat with this thunderstorm, and that could go right into downtown potentially. I'll go ahead and dispel the myth that the bluff will protect us. That's not necessarily true. There are sometimes factors within the environment that make storms weakening, but at this moment it doesn't look like it is weakening, and the bluff is truly too small of a geographic feature to have influence on a storm that is 30, 40,000 feet tall, whereas the bluff is mostly less than 200 feet tall. So the thunderstorm environment itself is much more healthy and will not be interrupted by the bluff, though there may be some environmental factors out ahead of it. Of course, we've seen some of those storms to the northern part of Mississippi have been using some of the environmental energy. But if we look at the storm energy that we have at the moment, we still have some pretty ample energy out here, out ahead of that thunderstorm. So seeing if we can investigate some of the values here, but it doesn't look like it has that capability, so bummed about that.
But across the region, we've seen this whole area of several complexes of thunderstorms over the last several hours here. If we just go over the last 12 hours, we had a couple waves of thunderstorms that blew through the Mid-South this morning, continued across the northern end of the Deep South, and now we've had another couple waves here just in the last few hours. So looking to the latest scan, looks like we may have been slightly misled by an old scan of that product, but it looks like we're starting to use up some of the energy here. Looks like there is still some energy there in northern parts of Crittenden County that thunderstorm is still feeding off of, but we're not seeing as much energy. And that storm energy includes the instability and the helicity, the tendency for the atmosphere to spin. It's not looking quite as healthy at this moment, but we do still have some pop-up thunder showers popping up there around the Germantown area, a little bit of a down shower there, not quite to the severe characteristics, and still keeping a close eye on the velocity for any potential for a tornado. Looks like a new tornado warning has just been issued there, reissued for the area that was previously canceled a little early there. So tornado warning as National Weather Service joking. It's like it knew that we were canceling the warning. It's begun to strengthen just a little bit. So still around the Abbeville area, a stronger area of rotation there of this thunderstorm possibly cycling back up. This is something we mentioned probably about an hour ago, at least 45 minutes ago. Some of these thunderstorms can spin up, can get stronger, and then they weaken. They have a broader rotation. They don't have quite as much of an organized, and then they can reach another peak and possibly rotate again. This is, it definitely seems like it's following that trend that I was describing earlier of that rear flank downdraft, that in cut that we saw here. Notice how we had a decent hook echo signature. That's a very classic signature of a supercell. And then we had the appendage of the hook somewhat cut off from the thunderstorm. And then as it continued across the Sardis Lake area, it became more organized. So perhaps that area of rotation was re-enhanced and redeveloped by that rear inflow, rear flank downdraft. So just looking back over the last 30 minutes here, we see where it was very strong around 8:54, and then it weakened with that rear inflow jet, the rear flank downdraft, and then it has reorganized, cycled back up, and now we have a new tornado warning here. So looking at the information for the timing of this tornado warning, this will be until 10:15 this evening, so this will likely be until well into our 10 o'clock newscast on ABC 24. You'll pardon me as I refresh my whistle here, as it's just me here in this evening covering this severe thunderstorm threat for us. Of course, came in early this morning around 12 hours ago for some of the severe weather that we had this morning, and now we have another round of some severe thunderstorms across this area. Many of these storms still have that potential for some thunderstorms that are non-severe at the moment. Of course, around the Holly Springs area, there is a little thunderstorm there. Into parts of Fayette County, Tennessee, there's a little shower there. I don't even know if it has any lightning. No lightning there, but there are a couple showers around the Germantown, Collierville there area, and as well into Fayette County, a little shower there. Those are non-severe, but the severe thunderstorm is encroaching on Memphis at the moment. Memphis downtown, South Memphis around the airport, the Whitehaven community, South Haven, West Memphis, of course, up towards the Fraser community there, the town of Fraser, I should say. That's where we're seeing some of those thunderstorms. We, of course, have seen, I'm keeping an eye on some other factors here for that thunderstorm But looking out towards Helena, West Helena, you are also under a severe thunderstorm warning. This is for 1-inch diameter hail and 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts, so it's not quite as prominent of a severe thunderstorm as some of the other ones we've seen around this area. But it is still one that we want to keep you in mind as we have some of these thunderstorms still around the Mid-South this evening. Across northern parts of Panola County, we do have a thunderstorm, non-severe at the moment, but decent lightning with that as well. This was previously our first tornado warning of the evening, but it has weakened and it has not recycled up to produce any sort of rotation signature worthy of getting a tornado warning. But here into northern Lafayette County, this is well north of Oxford. So it's not really affecting the Ole Miss area. So if you have any relatives who may still be around Ole Miss for some summer classes, they would not be impacted by this, unlikely. So that's some good news there. But Abbeville on into northeastern Lafayette County, that's where we're looking at the better chance of some of those thunderstorms for that particular thunderstorm to produce potentially a tornado at any given time. It's not looking quite as organized now. Again, this is a cycling thunderstorm, and I can't see anything that shows up as a dramatic indication of that rotation. But of course, some of these areas we may have a camera or two to see, but we do have one in the Midtown area that I want to pull up. That's the Cordova Midtown. There we are. So Midtown showing some decent lightning here. We're looking just south of downtown. So the downtown area is off that side of the screen, and we're looking south from that area here, where we're seeing that frequent lightning showing up on radar. So of course we can look at the lightning here just in the last 10 minutes of that thunderstorm. Of course, we're seeing a lot of lightning within the storm that's intra-cloud, within the cloud lightning, but the cloud to ground lightning has not been quite so abundant, as we see around 43 strikes just within the last 10 minutes here. Still some lightning with the storms here into northern Mississippi, but not an abundance of lightning. It looks like the National Weather Service has continued a severe thunderstorm warning into Shelby County now. So this is this particular thunderstorm warning. This is now for smaller hail. They've reduced the hail size. They've retained the tornado possible tag. And they may be seeing something that I have not seen with it, but they still have the threat for hail up to $half size. So that's about 1.25 inches in diameter. So I want to investigate a little more closely the velocity signature here, just to get a better sense of what they may be seeing, because I don't want to disagree outright with them. But I just haven't noticed the indication of rotation. All of this, to my eye, shows straight line winds. But I'll trust their judgment for now, as we're still seeing some strong winds approaching West Memphis here. So we're just seeing a couple pixels here, just right there and right in there. I missed the pixel. So you see minus 58. That's the negative sign is the indication of inbound. So the radar is looking out in all directions radially around in a full circle. And if it's coming towards, it's considering that a negative direction. If it's going away, that's considered a positive direction. So that's why sometimes you'll see when we investigate some of these green to blues, you'll see a negative value. It's just an indication of the direction. Negative indicates inbound towards the radar site, which is, of course, up towards the Millington area. If you've ever come up Excuse me. If you've ever gone up around the Millington area and if you noticed this large golf ball looking doohickey on a big tall pillar, a tall truss structure, that's actually the radar site. That's the WSR 88D dual pole Doppler radar up there. So that's owned by the National Weather Service, serviced by NOAA and the National Weather Service. So they are, of course, our partners. They are the ones who are in charge of issuing these thunderstorm warnings, and we appreciate their efforts this evening as they are helping us out here to get this information of this severe weather. Of course, recently they've had some difficulties with staffing as well across the country. Fortunately, our local National Weather Service office here in Memphis has not had much of the impact from that, but in general forecasting terms, we've lost a lot of balloon data as just staffing has not been able to launch balloons at some locations. So that's hurting some of the model data that predicts this kind of stuff. So that's why they are very important folks within the weather enterprise. Looking here at the northern Lafayette County storm, it's really starting to cycle back down. Of course, we said that earlier, it hurt us and it cycled back up, so we'll keep a close eye on that, but it's not proving to be quite so intense at the moment. But looking here into downtown Memphis, we're starting to see the first indications of that rain coming in, and you can definitely see it right here. Better view from some of the lightning, but you can see just right here, there's this leading edge of the clouds here, and below that, notice there's sort of that hazy color there on the horizon from some of the more distant cities. That's the rain starting to come down. That's getting sort of a glow from the light pollution more in the distance there. So we're starting to see the forward flank of the strong, heavy rainfall coming in, and the heavy winds that could be coming in that area as well. I will ask my producer, Andrew. I appreciate he's been doing a lot of help for me on the backside of things, but as we've just exited our CW30, thank you so much, knew exactly what I was talking about. Just had a little feedback in my ear there. But we do have a camera from I-40 and Danny Thomas that we want to take a look at. So here you can see some of the lightning flashing within that storm. Some of that haze, that glow on the horizon I was mentioning, that definitely looks like it's the heavy rain that's coming in into the downtown area at the moment. So there's likely to be some difficulty driving. It's not going to be a impossible task to drive in that area, but definitely something you need to take it slower. Remembering, unless you're a semi, you don't have to put on your flashers when you're in rain. Semi drivers, tractor trailers have slightly different rules for their driving practices, but flashers, emergency hazards are for when you are in an emergency situation or you are incapacitated on the road. And so just driving through the rain, slow down, make sure your headlights are on, and you'll get through it fine. But for the moment, at least if you can delay headed out on the roads, stay sheltered as this severe thunderstorm begins to move into Memphis proper. It's started to move into just some weaker environment here, so the hail is not quite as large, but we could still see some of that hail moving into Memphis at the moment. The downstream warning is coming now for Shelby County for this large hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds here as well. So those storms still maintaining its strength as it moves into downtown Memphis. Looking a little bit wider here, we see a few areas of warnings. I want to show you where we have the severe thunderstorm watch across our area, across the northern part of our viewing area this evening. May take a moment for that to load in. As we put the watch on there, you see the area shaded in pink here. That is the area of the severe thunderstorm watch, but of course we've had a little bit of that trending a little north. So there's been some difficulties in forecasting all the way from here in-house all the way up to the Storm Prediction Center in Norman, Oklahoma that issues the watches. We've had some a lot of unexpected activity this evening with some of these severe thunderstorms. But that severe thunderstorm warning now across most of Shelby County, effectively all of Shelby County. That includes South Haven, though you are on the very edge of that, Collierville, Germantown, Lakeland, Millington, the Fraser area, up towards Bartlett, and of course downtown Memphis as well, and Cordova, Whitehaven, and Arlington eventually, and eventually towards the Oakland area. So many areas here within that severe thunderstorm warning now. We'll get some of that info on your screen so you can see what time it expires, but that's until 10:15 this evening. So that will definitely go into our ABC 24 newscast at 10 o'clock. I will say we may be able to return to intermittent news coverage as well as extended severe coverage as we get into the later portion of this, but I may be able to carry it if we are not prepared for the evening news hour. I could carry it to the end, so just indicating that to our producers and our team here at ABC 24 this evening. So this is now moving around 45 miles per hour, so it's a little bit quicker than some of the thunderstorms that we have seen. So I'm going to just sort of draw out ahead of that storm, move it up I-40 here over the next 45 minutes, and we'll get some times here for you. So Bartlett, it's going to be around your area as an early estimate. I said Bartlett around 9:50 this evening, so before 10 o'clock. Cordova, you're looking around 9:51. Germantown a little sooner, but you're not within the core of the strong winds within that storm or the core of the hail. You'll still see some gusty winds though, and that may still bring down some trees on power lines, so be aware of that. If you do have a mobile device that you're watching us or that you can watch us on the ABC 24 mobile app, you can you can watch that from your shelter. So make sure that you have the app downloaded on your phone so you can continue watching us in case your power does go out. Looking at more of these locations here, Arlington, you've got about a half hour of heads up on that thunderstorm, so it's going to be a little while before it's in your area. The Collierville around 9:56 for your area. Oakland around 10:11 this evening. Galloway around 10:13, and Williston around 10:21. So if I've named any of your towns, that's when we're expecting some of these severe threats to move into your area this evening. I want to take a look back towards the Lafayette County storm here outside of the Oxford area. Oxford is not within the severe thunderstorm, the tornado warning, but is outside of it and very near. So if you live around the Abbeville area there, that's where we've seen that tornado warning present, but it really looks like slop now. It's really diminished any of the remaining mesocyclone. Of course, earlier it was very intense across eastern Tate County. It approached Sardis Lake and was weakening. It re-strengthened, was reissued as a tornado warning, and now it has completely fallen apart. So it would not surprise me if they, just in case, hang on to that tornado warning. But for the time being, the threat has, has greatly diminished. I apologize if my voice is beginning to break a little bit. I've been up on less sleep than usual, talking for many more hours than usual, and it is getting late as well. So I apologize if my voice gets a little bit weaker here. over the next little bit. Checking in with a couple other factors, so give me just one moment here. So this area of strong winds has just started to come into the Memphis area, just onto the downtown area there, north of sort of right into downtown. Oh, excuse me. I apologize. They have canceled the tornado warning in Lafayette County, so that's some good news, but definitely starting to see some low-level winds here, upwards of 58 miles per hour, starting to move into the downtown area. So if you are in downtown, likely going to see some pretty raucous winds starting to move in. As I get the Midtown camera here, definitely looks like we've got that thunderstorm that's just started to push inland in here. I'm going to take a look from the ultra-wide view of Midtown. It'll give us a quick update on that in just a moment, so we'll come back to that. But definitely seeing some heavy rainfall in downtown Memphis, especially south of downtown, south of Princeton Road there. Looking at this road here, if I can get the highways tool, south of Highway 64, south of the Garland Street and south of Sheridan Street is where we've got the heavier rain right now. So if you're in Midtown, you're kind of in a hole at the moment, but definitely seeing the heavy rain back behind that, and that's moving in. East Memphis, the Colonial Sea Isle Park area there, we're seeing some of the first wave of the rain coming down. This could be moving into northeast Memphis here very soon as well, as that thunderstorm continues to push east at the moment. I'm going to take you back to the camera view here, a wide view of what should be downtown Memphis. We can no longer see the lights on the buildings. We also have a view of I-240 and South Parkway, where you can see just how heavy that rain is coming down. Those folks certainly driving a lot slower. You can see the heavy rainfall on the road surface, and of course it's also dripping from the top of the camera, where we've got some very, very heavy rainfall, and you can sort of see some of the gusty winds blowing some of the rain there, the sheets of rain coming down on the surface of the road. So definitely going to make it a little tricky to drive out there as this heavy rain continues to drop right here on Memphis this evening. So appreciate Andrew and Michael Antonio for working in the back there to get some of those views from downtown this evening as well. I do want to see if I can pull up our East Memphis camera. That should be loaded here. This will be either East Memphis or the flyover. This is East Memphis. So yeah, you can see the top of Clark Tower. The flag is completely unfurled there. The rain is starting to come down, and definitely a gray haze of that heavy rainfall starting to fall in East Memphis. This is right there at Park Street and White Station Road. That's just north of Sea Isle Park. Basically, right there, White Station and Poplar Drive. This is right around my area of town that I live, where we're seeing some of that heavy rainfall. So aside from the severe characteristics, the good rain is good for my garden. So glad to see that. Didn't have time to water it, though we had some rain this morning. We've had a couple rounds of rain here across Memphis. We had about 1.5 inches of rain with the morning storms, and then now we're getting a little more rain right there at the airport, just there in South Memphis. The Whitehaven area definitely seeing some potential for some of that strong, heavy rainfall. It looks like the hail has diminished a little bit. It's been on a weakening trend across eastern Arkansas, so hopefully the hail is less of a threat. Hopefully the hail is less of a threat for the downtown area. Of course, a lot of people packed in real close in there. So hopefully they're hopefully no one's out and about and stranded out there in the evening as that hail may come down. I'm just taking a wide look on the radar here across the Mid-South as I load this back in. The severe thunderstorm warning across Phillips County and Lee County was allowed to expire here at 9:45, so that's some good news. We just remain with this one severe thunderstorm warning here. So I'm going to indicate to the folks in the back that just in case we do have that thunderstorm warning expire early, we ought to be prepared for ABC 24 News at 10 o'clock, just making sure that that is ready as time comes up here. It looks like there was a large shelf cloud from Lafayette County on that storm, possibly a lowering of a wall cloud on that storm as well. So definitely an interesting picture from emergency management just shared with us there in the National Weather Service chat. Of course, I think I'm trying to get in contact with our news director to see if we can resume the news hour at 10 and go ahead and end the severe weather coverage. I would say probably at 10 o'clock it would be reasonable to drop off of WLMT but remain on WATN and at least have our live stream, which I apologize if you've been watching us on Facebook. If you've asked any questions on the live stream, I apologize for not having checked that recently. The South Haven area, question there. In the South Haven area, we really aren't seeing any of the severe characteristics of the storm on that south end. So there is some light rainfall, but it is moving away from you. We can just loop this here over the last 15 minutes here to just, oh goodness, let's do the last 45 and slow it down here just so we can get a sense of the motion of that. So South Haven, you're really not going to see any excuse me, snuck up on me. South Haven is not going to see any severe characteristics. Sorry, just trying to coordinate the plan as we are coming up now. If we had more people in, we would be doing this in tandem, but unfortunately we have some short staff at this time due to some restructuring that we have done here. But Memphis downtown, that's where we're seeing some of the heavier rainfall. It is starting to wrap up across downtown proper. Midtown, we're also seeing that storm here. But really the severe characteristics of that storm is beginning to weaken. Another fellow viewer here is watching from Collierville. Kim is asking about Collierville. It looks like the severe characteristics there are also much weaker. Really not seeing the trend of the motion of that thunderstorm going towards the Collierville area. Germantown is a little closer to the heavy rainfall and possibly for the lightning as well. Though Collierville is in that severe thunderstorm warning, the severe characteristics are pretty much contained at the moment. Right now, within the 240 loop or just around the 240 loop, and will likely be headed up the Interstate 40 corridor. So places like Bartlett, Cordova, Lakeland, those are more likely to see the threat for some strong winds and possibly for some hail as well. But the hail threat has really been weakening. And we see there just the latest scan, hail really no longer showing up as a primary threat with this. We are getting close to the radar, so it can't see quite as far up into the storm. But I would say at least for that area here, we're not really seeing as much of a hail threat anymore, though we could still see the strong winds, possibly moving through the Fraser area, up through Bartlett as well. This is getting close to the radar, so it's a little lower level. And we're not seeing really any of the strongest winds upwards of 58 miles per hour. Some of those bright blue pixels really not showing up anymore. The National Weather Service not indicating of when they may let this expire or if they will just leave it until 9:15 as well. At this point, this thunderstorm here, I would say if it didn't have the history of severe characteristics, it would not be warned at this point, but they may just be keeping it up just in case it cycles back up. So we're keeping a close eye on that as well this evening. Of course, some of these thunderstorms to the south have had some lightning. But no severe thunderstorms in this direction. An interesting formation of just some very well clustered lightning there across Phillips County, just outside of the Marvell area. Marvell. I apologize if I'm mispronouncing that. Kip is asking if it's dropping south of Arlington. I wouldn't bet on that. Arlington is still downstream. And this storm has had more of a northeastern component to it. It's a little far out to say exactly. Excuse me. But we do still have that area of some strong winds. So they've trimmed the back edge of that storm warning there, canceling it out of the southwest corner. But they have downgraded it once again to only 1 inch maximum hail. So most of the hail will be less than 1 inch. We're hearing a couple bands of rain here at our studios in northeast Memphis, just outside of the Bartlett area, just right here at Raleigh-LaGrange Road. And we're probably about to hear some heavier rain showing up as well. But the lightning has dropped down. The hail size has dropped down. It's continued a weakening trend with that. The rain presentation is not quite as widespread, nor is it as dark. Some of those darker burgundy shades usually indicate some heavier rainfall where it's pouring down. And that's where we can sometimes see some of those winds that get a little more downbursty, and that's where we see more of the severe thunderstorm threat. Collierville, again, I mentioned not really a severe threat, but there is a line parallel with Highway 385 there that is going to come through that area, but non-severe impacts from that. So as we're coming up to the 10 o'clock hour this evening, we of course have been preempting some on-air programs this evening as the severe weather threat has required it for us. I apologize for some of the inconsistency in my presentation skill this evening. It's been a very long day, and it's definitely getting a very late hour now for me. But we do appreciate you sticking around with us for watching us this evening. A comment here coming in from could these storms reform later tonight? I feel that is less likely. Most of the models did have some thunderstorms. They didn't have them quite as intense as they have become. And you see here, this model poorly representing what it looked like at 9 o'clock and what it looks like now. So this has been the trouble with the models that we have been having this evening, is they are just not representing the current situation they're not representing the current situation very well, so that lessens their reliability of their predictability of the next several hours here. And you see here, this model shows them well back to the east and not even into the Memphis area yet, so still a poor representation on the models. So that's why we've had a bit of an interruption in our coverage this evening, as we were basing it off of the model data that we had that unfortunately has been degraded by cuts to the National Weather Service. Here into Shelby County now, it looks like it's staying a little more south of I-40. So we were asking about Arlington earlier from Kip Baker, and it looks like it's maybe trending a little more towards the east rather than more towards the northeast. So that's definitely, it does look like it's going to skip past the Arlington area as well. Lakeland, though, going to be clipped by it. And Cordova, Germantown, definitely seeing that heavy rain at the moment. Collierville, probably going to see the northern half of Collierville, and Cordova, as I mentioned, definitely seeing that. So some quick housekeeping. For those of you who are watching on air on WLMT CW30, we are going to drop off air from CW30. You can switch over to channel 24. And you can continue watching us there as we're coming up to the 10 o'clock hour. We'll make that switch, and then we will also be bringing in our anchor this evening, Kevin McNamara, to begin our news coverage on ABC 24 at 10 o'clock. For those in the back, I can dance as long as you need me to, but yeah, that severe thunderstorm warning has been expired early, and we now no longer have any severe thunderstorms in the Mid-South at the moment. And so we will bring you some of those headlines as well. So if we want to just play the headlines open when we are ready, just give me an indication in my ear. And I'll shut up for the first time in an hour and a half here. So again, we've had a few severe thunderstorms across the Mid-South this evening. We've had some of those storms that have produced potential for a tornado or two across northern Mississippi. We've had a couple of supercells that have rolled through. Now, many of these thunderstorms have weakened, though I do want to keep a close eye on them, as many of them still are in a pretty strong environment as well that could potentially produce something stronger. And as I say this, I do see an area of rotation there in Panola County that I want to ask the National Weather Service about. Yep, they're coming with a tornado warning, so we may need to actually remain with weather. I know we just said that, but of course, things change very quickly, so we do apologize. I do apologize to my coworkers here and for the ever-evolving nature of things, but it looks like as this tornado warning comes out, we will likely stay with severe coverage, as that is... It popped up real quick, and as I was starting to look at it, you see that we've got that little bit of an embedded hook echo right there, and as you switch over to the velocity, that's right where we're seeing some embedded rotation. So the National Weather Service, right as I was about to type and ask them, they've issued that tornado warning. So it's a very narrow tornado warning that has just been issued. And now this does include Oxford. So we're going to stay with this tornado warning until the threat is allowed to expire. So this is now until 10:45 p.m., so we may very well cover up most of the newscast this evening, but we'll just stay on standby. Kevin, if you want to take a seat.
Do you want me to step in and give you a hand?
I'll be all right. I appreciate it, but thank you. Thank you, though. Of course, we all work as a team, so I do appreciate Kevin McNamara for helping out as I was coming back in after working my shift for the early hours, and then went home, came back as we had severe thunderstorms coming back in. He did a great job helping to bring some coverage while our weather team could not. So a couple of things with this. This is on the southern end. This is the area where we've got the better environment for tornadoes to form. And so we've got that latest area of rotation that has just been issued a new tornado warning. So if you are just joining us and watching from home, as I keep on clicking the wrong thing, here's some tornado safety tips. If you are caught within a tornado warning, you want to seek shelter indoors. If you do not have a sturdy structure to get to, see if you can find one. But staying away from windows and exterior walls is where you want to be if you are under a tornado warning. Of course, whenever a tornado is possible, it can throw debris through exterior walls. So that's why we want to put as many roofs, ceilings, as many layers of brick and mortar and plaster in between you and the outside as possible, as even if it is not strong enough to tear apart walls, it can still throw objects through walls, and that can still be a hazard. Going to the lowest floor of a high rise, if you're in a dormitory around the Ole Miss area, going to the lowest level of that building and seeking shelter in an interior room. Interior stairwells are also a very good sturdy structure to seek shelter in during a tornado warning. So this is an area that does include Oxford, Mississippi, including Ole Miss campus. The area of rotation does have a lowering that is very difficult to see from some of these cameras from the North Mississippi Storm Chaser network. Unfortunately, we don't have a way to get those pulled into our system, but many of these areas, I want to get information there on the forward speed of that storm so that we can track this out for you. We've seen some varying speeds of these storms. This one now at 35 miles per hour. So I'm going to get a very narrow cone here as it will eventually move out of our viewing area. So Burgess, you're sort of the next town within this cone here of where we're seeing that area of rotation pushing through. You're looking around 1016, Aylesville around 1022, Taylor, it'll be your area around 1027, Oxford in the Ole Miss area around 1030, Altus, Mississippi around 1042, Denmark, Mississippi around 1047, eventually to Dogtown around 1055, and Takapola there outside of our viewing area right at 11 o'clock, and that is outside of the warning, and that is after it is set to expire. Excuse me here. Many of these thunderstorms have been pushing east and northeast and southeast and all moving in separate directions. Again, not modeled very well by the weather models this evening, showing this degree of severity for these thunderstorms. Many of these storms, of course, are still non-severe across the Mid-South, so you may hear some rumbles of thunder. If you're not in Panola County and you're not in Lafayette County, you are not under the threat of the severe thunderstorms at the moment, which is good news. But just taking a look back to the north, For any of you who are still watching out of Shelby County or Fayette County, previously under severe thunderstorm warning, that warning has been allowed to expire early. And we still have a thunderstorm there, but it is a much weaker storm, not quite within that area. We've got some folks here watching from Smyrna, Tennessee, so appreciate you watching from Smyrna, well outside our viewing area, but we appreciate your viewership nonetheless. Keeping an eye on maybe if you have any folks living in the Oxford area, hopefully they are aware of the situation and are staying safe this evening. There is an abundance of lightning within this thunderstorm at the moment, so there is some correlation to a tornadic thunderstorm and the amount of lightning that it produces. So we may be seeing a bit of that indication here with that rotation that still shows up pretty decently. This is just outside of the Sardis town area there, southwest of the southern shores of Sardis Lake. Trying to get some views of some local landmarks around that area here on my phone. But of course, if you live in this area, you probably know it better than I do. But this is just outside of Batesville, so Batesville is not within this severe thunderstorm warning. But it is just right there outside of Sardis here. So there's not a whole lot in this area where we've got this particular severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado. Whew. Been a long day. We've had a lot to cover and a lot to talk about all across the Mid-South. Not the longest day we've done. We're not going to jinx it with invoking a couple months ago. But this area, we do have that's a severe thunderstorm capable. If you are familiar with this area, you may know of an airport, the Panola County Municipal Airport, that's just outside of Batesville there. This is very near that airport. Could be passing through that area fairly closely. So it looks like that's just to the east, just to the west of the circulation. So it'd be right around in here is the Panola County Municipal Airport. That's where we're seeing some of that rotation in that thunderstorm. And I want to get a look and see if there's a local observation site in that area to see if there's any recent reports of the conditions right there in Panola County. So I have to find it there. So it does look like it has that latest, there is an observation site, so I'll wait for that to load in here. So again, downstream towards Oxford, you're going to see yet another potential for a tornado to roll into your area there this evening. Looking at the latest information from that observation site, definitely reported thunder at 9:55. Relative humidity was up to 100%. Temperature of 79 degrees there. Winds, not a terribly strong wind there, but it may just be outside of the immediate threat of that rotation. Andrew, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to stand up here for a little bit, give my legs a little bit of motion here. So if you want to take radar full for me, I would appreciate that. Thank you. And you can adjust the box as needed. But here towards the Oxford area, once again, if you are in that area, we want you to seek shelter, staying in the lowest level of your home in a sturdy business if you can. So we've got some of these storms rolling through this evening that have had these cyclic nature of where they were very weak and then they spun up quickly and then they weakened again. I'm going to keep a close eye on this. of this storm, just in case it does begin to weaken. But I also want to keep an eye on the debris detector for this storm, as we really don't see anything very prominent with this, but right there it does have a little pixel of some potential rotation. Antonia talking about watching us for a long time. So we appreciate you and everyone who is still tuned in with us this evening here, as we've had some pretty strong storms across the Mid-South as they continue to push up here around the area. So that area of rotation is looking like it is weakening a little bit. Time now is around 10:11 at the 10:12 at the moment, and these storms are continuing to push east, still within a decent environment for a tornado to develop. Many of these thunderstorms still pushing through Panola County here. That thunderstorm complex is where we have that severe thunderstorm warning. But we do also have a thunderstorm back towards Phillips County. This is a non-severe thunderstorm at the moment. Helena, West Helena, seeing some rumbles of thunder at the moment, but again, non-severe. This was an area that had a severe thunderstorm warning. They've had a few warnings through the day today, but that is not where we're seeing the tornado threat at the moment. That is now moving south of Sardis Lake into the Highway 278 corridor there between Batesville and Oxford. It could move through the Oxford area, so I still want to be conscientious of Oxford as that storm will move in. We were trying to move on to ABC 24 News at 10 o'clock. I feel as though we may need to get back onto WLMT as we are off air from there with the new tornado warning. We should get back on, so appreciate production getting on that as well. Just let me know when we are on CW30 and I'll reintroduce ourselves. But for now, at least, we're still keeping an eye here on this tornado warning in Panola County and Lafayette County. This is in northern Mississippi, an area that has a severe thunderstorm watch until 2 a.m. So it could be a long haul for us all tonight across this area. Still an abundance of lightning, a decent amount of rotation within that thunderstorm as well. Much of this area has had just that enough energy for those thunderstorms to produce a tornado. We've rejoined on air on CW30 WLMT. I'm once again still meteorologist Kit Thomas here. We did have a new tornado warning issued within the last 10 to 15 minutes. So if you didn't join us on 24, we apologize for not getting back on CW30 quite as quickly, but doing what we can here with what we got. But of course, these storms have been producing some brief rotation that has spun up and spun back down. We've had sort of this cycle between stronger and weaker signatures. Just looking over the last 15 minutes here, right there outside of Sardis, going back around 20 minutes, very, very disorganized storm that then right there around 9:55, the first indication of some rotation, and that has held together right there around Blackjack Road. This is outside of the Panola Municipal Airport, passed near that area recently. I'm trying to get a few more areas of some landmarks right there along Highway 278 as you're leaving Panola County. There's the Sardis Lake Christian Camp on the northern side of this warning. I'll indicate that approximately here. That's not really the area that we're looking at the rotation here. Right here at the southern shore of Sardis Lake. It's a little too far as this is moving towards the southeast, but it could encroach on the Oxford area as well very soon. So if you know around the Harrisonville Church area there, that sort of downstream of that thunderstorm, That's right there in the bend here. I'm looking right here, Harrisonville Church, and a shop called Cedar Bucket right there along 278 just into Lafayette County. That's an area where we could see that tornado possibly pass over, or at least the lowering of the cloud base, where we might have where we might have a wall cloud from that thunderstorm possibly forming. A wall cloud is somewhat of a precursor of a tornado. It's an indication of the moisture getting pulled into the mesocyclone, and as that happens, the condensation of the cloud begins to drop lower and lower in elevation as it's pulling in all of that moisture. And that, of course, that rotation, that pulling inward flow is what leads to a tornado. It's one of the many factors. So I think just given where this is, the next area that I'm going to sort of highlight is between Oxford and Taylor, Mississippi. This is the area that I think this area of rotation will eventually pass through. We could still see that rotation. It could turn north, could turn south, could go either side, but Ole Miss area around 1036 is where this could move through your area, and that would also include the Taylor area. I know Ole Miss it shows up on those lists, but Taylor does not. But Taylor and Oxford, right around that same time, around 1030 to 1040, is when it will be passing through. Getting just a more wide view of this area. Of course, if you are watching from Memphis, I will tell you we are clear for now. Things are really not showing up as quite as intense that direction anymore. Looks like we do have another couple of showers starting to come down in that area too. But whenever we have storms like this, sometimes we still have just lingering energy and just disturbances that can keep sparking off thunderstorms here around this area. So we do appreciate all of you who are still watching with us this evening, even if we've covered up some of your programming here on air throughout the day and throughout any time that we have severe coverage here in this area. So, we've got the potential for some of these storms to still produce lightning, but it's unlikely that they're going to produce any more severe characteristics. The National Weather Service not really indicating much of a threat with that this evening here. Some of these thunderstorms still could, this particular thunderstorm still could produce strong winds as well. Of course, we're looking at the velocity mainly for the rotating winds, but there could still be 50-mile-per-hour wind gusts within a thunderstorm. Just from the heavy rainfall, it can drop down and burst a gust of winds around that area. So it's a different threat than the tornado threat, but it is still a wind threat. Hail threat doesn't really look quite so prominent. Hail has been pretty small within this thunderstorm. Of course, that tornado warning goes until 10:45 this evening, and the threats for hail is less than penny size, so that's about 3/4 of an inch in diameter. So really not looking at much of a threat for that as well. Some of these storms on the backside over here in Phillips County, looks like it has some small hail within that as well. The Helena, West Helena area here. I wonder if the National Weather Service judges that is strengthening enough for yet another severe thunderstorm warning. As we sort of see that hot pink color in the center, right around in there, that may be an area. Lo and behold, there it is. I'll count the wind for the day of, calling out severe warnings right before they come out. But yeah, new severe thunderstorm warning here from the National Weather Service. I'll get that info on your screen there so you can follow along with me. This is radar indicated threat of the potential for some strong winds and some hail as well. Let me get that warning information on my screen here. So 1-inch diameter hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds, that is the baseline threat. And that now goes until 11 o'clock. So continuing to extend the time that we will be on air this evening, covering this severe thunderstorm threat for us. So many of these storms have just continued to cycle back up. They've weakened, strengthened, and gone everywhere in between, with some of these storms still being still being a pain in the neck. if I'll be honest, I don't have many kind words to say about them. But so with this area, we were looking earlier at some of the energy within the atmosphere. I want to take a look at that again, just to see where the energy is over the last couple of hours here. We've seen some of these thunderstorms continuing to be looping around the area, and really, that product's been having some trouble, so I've got to fully reload it here, so bear with me for a moment, as really doesn't look like it's an accurate portrayal of the energy that we've had. Let me just loop this over the last 6 hours, see if that gets a better, and it may be that it's just, it's still an atmosphere that's recharged. There we go. For whatever reason, the one graphic just wasn't representing it properly. So you can see that area just of gray where all of the energy goes away. That's where we have sort of consumed the energy around the Mid-South recently. And the energy has sort of been used up entirely around the area. But we still have some of that energy right here, sort of on this boundary. We'll draw it as a cold front. It's going the other direction here. So that's basically the rain-cooled air dropping down and clearing out the energy and removing the energy from the atmosphere. I want to check with the Storm Prediction Center outlook here on some of the tools that they have for us meteorologists when we're actually doing forecasting, not necessarily when we're on air, but it is a good tool, just the analysis page that they have that I want to check in on. So let me get that loaded here, and I'll narrate what I'm looking at here. There we go. Just popped up. I want to look at some of the thermodynamics of this storm threat. So we still have a lot of energy within the atmosphere. So this is a combination of both energy, the convective energy, and the rotational potential with that storm. It's a composite product. It's looking at multiple factors of the atmosphere, but just teasing apart some of those factors. The low-level environment that could have some rotation definitely still has some of that more significant rotation here, rotation potential here into central Mississippi. There's much better environment, especially here around towards Columbus and Tupelo, Mississippi. That's where we've got that area of rotation here in northern Mississippi. That Oxford tornado warning still is present there at the moment. So zooming in on that, I don't want to get too far distracted from looking at the parameters of that thunderstorm. But it looks like it's less organized, but of course we know that once we say it's less organized, it starts to ramp right back up, and we still have some good supercell environments, supercell ingredients for this thunderstorm at the moment as well. So it may still recycle and strengthen back up as well. So many of these areas, of course, keep an eye on our stream, making sure that we're still up on air as well. many of us still seeing some of that thunderstorms around the area, but it's really just here into Lafayette County right now with the tornado threat. And then moving out of Phillips County into Coahoma County. Extreme southern Tunica County is technically within the warning, though not really under the direct impact of that. And then on into Quitman County, Mississippi as well. We've got that thunderstorm threat up in that direction. Many of these storms are just, like I said, sort of being a pain in the neck, continuing to cycle back up, get stronger, get weaker, get stronger, get weaker. So we may be in for a long night tonight. Looking at the, great. I'll read that message in a moment. Looking at the severe thunderstorm watch here, that's the area shaded in pink. This is for northern Mississippi until 2 a.m. this morning. So the National Weather Service, after looking at some satellite trends on that storm, they're indicating that it is gaining strength once again. As of now, the weak rotation is very broad, but just with the trends from the radar, it looks like from the satellite trends, it could still cycle back up as that updraft is continuing to re-strengthen within that storm. So just looking a little bit closer here, we'll just keep a close eye on that, on those two storms here. Excuse me. So of course, that thunderstorm on the back side of it looks a little more jumbled, just some extra convection on the back side of it, but the area of rotation really still quite weak, really not looking all that great. So we'll just have to sit here and wait for it. I don't have much else to provide for you. Helena, West Helena, I see a little area of false rotation, so that's good. Starting to feel like a broken record here this evening, but we do appreciate you all bearing with us and staying tuned as we cover these severe thunderstorms here around the Mid-South. I want to check out the hail on this thunderstorm, as that hail core looks to get a little more broad recently just on the reflectivity, but it may be a factor of the spread of it rather than the intensity of the hail. So the hail might not be quite, it may not be showing up as a growing hail size. Ooh, excuse me, I was trying to fight that off. But more just the production of hail is happening in a more broad sense rather than the hail size is growing very large within that thunderstorm. So I want to take you through the next couple of days here, just so that if you were just tuning in for 10 o'clock and you're going to tune out, I'm going to give you a look at the 7-day forecast that we've got here. Tomorrow, we initially had a weather impact alert day that our station had issued. I have allowed that to be walked back. We really aren't going to see any impacts from severe storms tomorrow through the day. The thing is, we do have a level 1 threat for tomorrow, but there was sort of a misjudgment on the decision to call that a weather impact day, because tomorrow through the day is going to be fine. However, there is a level 4 threat way out to the west tomorrow, and these kinds of products are issued 7 a.m. to 7 a.m. So that level 1 risk across our area, a very isolated chance for severe storms, will be in place for the wee hours of Monday morning. Hopefully we don't have any severe thunderstorms at that time, as we don't have any local staff at the moment, as Chief Meteorologist Trevor Burchett is out of town. We'll hope that we don't have any severe storms on that morning during those early hours. But again, that's going to be after the 7 o'clock time frame, and by midday forward, that's when we could see maybe a recharge of the atmosphere, and those thunderstorms might get a little stronger there by around the afternoon on Monday. So we're going to keep a close eye on it over the next couple of days. Weather impact not in place for tomorrow, but in place for Monday. And then the rest of the week, we start to see those temperatures warming back up into the 89, 90 degree range. We've already had 2 days up to 90 degrees. We had 92 and 90. I forget what days they were. It escapes me. It was earlier this last week. We had those stronger heating during the afternoon hours. Then later on in the week, there's storm chances back in on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Chance of a thunderstorm or two. It is too far out for us to responsibly issue a weather impact alert for those days. So as we get closer, we will make a judgment better, but it is just not reasonable. It's not scientific to really hone in on a major severe weather threat to put that weather impact alert brand on at the moment. Of course, by Wednesday, we'll probably have a better sense of yes or no if that will be necessary. So we've had some changes to our thresholds for those weather impact alert days. So just want to communicate that with you, that you may see a bit of a change of some of the messaging that we present. We've just adjusted some of those thresholds recently. So checking back in on that tornado warning that we've had across Lafayette County, that area there of just some weak rotation still doesn't look organized, still doesn't look like it would reasonably put down a tornado. I want to get a little closer to the Columbus, Mississippi radar site, and we see very broad elevated rotation within that zone. That was sort of where I was pointing out earlier. Right there between Oxford and Taylor is where I was expecting just the trend of that forward motion to bring that rotation, and that does look like it's going to be passing between Oxford and Taylor. We've got another comment from Ashley on Facebook. So if you're watching on air or elsewhere online, you can join our Facebook chat there, asking about Selmer this evening. Selmer, unlikely to see any severe threats. You might see a wave of some thunder showers to roll through, looking at a little bit of lightning there, a couple counties to your west. That's in Fayette County, moving into Hardeman County. So Bolivar might hear a rumble of thunder or two, but given the trends with this, I would not anticipate severe thunderstorms to be developing. And Andrew, if you get the IFB, thank you, sir. The atmosphere doesn't like us tonight, so we'll see. But my judgment would be that it is just too weak at the moment and too separated to really regain the severe characteristics that we would expect for that. So Ashley, Selmer should be mostly in the clear aside from a scattered shower or thunderstorm. Here into northern parts of Coahoma County, we've got that heavy lightning coming down. This one's sort of a more impressive one now on the backside of the storm. Got a couple areas with some impressive amounts of lightning. So let's just look here in this one complex. Who's got the most lightning? 110 strikes. I drew that with the off-camera query tool. 110 strikes on that one. And then this one has grand total 120. So the tornado warning still has a little more lightning. So both of those areas still producing a lot of lightning. Lightning is still something that's very serious. You don't want to be messing around with. But it is still something that's, that can be a threat with these thunderstorms, especially just with the severe characteristics. That helps a lot of the potential for lightning this evening. Go ahead and clear that off just to get a more clear view of those storms. I want to see if there's any indication of rotation within this storm. Is it still within that environment? Nothing really showing up as a decent area of rotation. When I say decent, something meaning that it's a better chance of it being a tornado. The Oxford storm, though, does, as we sort of expected, does have a little stronger compared to the last couple of scans here. You see how it just looks like slop. Now we're getting some brighter reds showing up, and it's starting to be a little more transverse. So this area right in here is starting to be a little more figure 8 shape if you were to circle them. A little more figure 8 shape than it was previously. You see how back there really just had fallen apart. It was completely separated and had very little transverse rotation. Now we're seeing some stronger transverse rotation, so it might actually be cycling back up again. We've seen that several times this evening with some of these tornado warnings we've had, with some of the severe thunderstorms that we've had. They've weakened and gained strength once again, causing the reissuance or the continuation of some of these thunderstorms in this area. Checking in with the National Weather Service here just to get some info, see if they have any other additional information from that. It doesn't look like they've, excuse me. It's been a long day. I apologize for yawning. Brain working hard over here. But we still have that decent amount of heavy rainfall right there over Oxford at the moment. I just want to look at the precipitation rate, see if that pulls up. It's not pulling up the right percent. It's a little exaggerated, so it doesn't display on the screen here, but it displays the precipitation rate as 8 inches per hour. That's not happening. What is happening is where I sampled is right there where we have some hail, and the precipitation rate is not really able to differentiate between hail versus rain, but it just says, hey, that's a very loud reflection coming back from the radar site. So what does that loudness translate to in, when I say loud, I mean the echo. It's a ping pong kind of an echo from the radar site. It counts everything as rain. And what amount of rain would lead to that level of an echo? 8 inches. It's not happening. But we could still see some very heavy rainfall there in downtown Oxford that might lead to some aerial flash flooding, so we'll have to keep an eye out for that. But not looking like it's a good indication of the actual rainfall rate there. Also seeing some hail into northern Coahoma County. Right there, Highway 49 and 61 up towards the Lula area. Coahoma Rich Road, Coahoma, the proper city there, Levy Road, that area of northern Coahoma County. Could be seeing some hail rolling through your area this afternoon. Give me one moment. I'm checking in on another radar site. Sometimes it has a better view. So there's 2 radar sites here in the Mid-South. We only have access to one in our graphics system here. There's one right up here around Millington. That's the one you see spinning around. But there's also the terminal radar here around the Hernando area. I'm just trying to see if it has a better view. It really doesn't look any better on these storms. Sometimes that storm, just being a little closer to that radar, just being a little farther, that radar being a little farther south, sometimes it gives us a better view at these storms. Because the thing is, what the radar does, I'll do a quick little drawing here. On screen. I need to make a dedicated graphic for this, but you've got the radar site here, which has the radar beam coming out of the top of it, and the beam actually goes up and away from the surface of the Earth. There's a couple of reasons. Because the Earth is curved, I know some people debate that, but because the Earth is curved and because of what's called attenuation, bending of the microwave radiation that the radar emits, it curves up and away, plus they can't put it directly straight down. They can't make it look directly at the radar beam. They can't do it horizontally because then it would run into trees. So they have to add a little bit of an upward angle to it. So the upward angle, the attenuation of the radar beam bending, and the curvature of the Earth means that the farther and farther away that you get from the radar site, the higher and higher into the atmosphere we are looking. So with that difficulty, now that we're several dozen miles away from the radar site in Millington, we're 70 miles away, we can no longer see down at the surface of these thunderstorms. And even from the Memphis terminal radar there in Hernando, that still looks up around 2,000 feet there. And meanwhile, the Millington radar site, that one looks around 6,000 feet. So we're seeing these storms around 6,000 feet, and a tornado is a surface level feature. So we're seeing well up above the surface. And it does look like it's starting to rotate a little more significantly now. So I'm going to turn off the nerd bit of me. The National Weather Service is indicating another tornado warning is coming out here for Lafayette County. So that is going to, it looks like they expired it a few minutes ago, and now they are reissuing it as the storm continues to spin up and down, up and down, up and down. So going to stay with this until it leaves our viewing area. We will stay on the air with this tornado warning. The severe thunderstorm watch goes until 8 p.m. 8 p.m. 2 a.m. And that's the new tornado warning. So this does include Oxford. It does not include Taylor, but it does include Tucapula there. As we see, that thunderstorm has more of that back of the hand, left hand supercell structure. So it is getting a little stronger, following the trend that they had indicated previously of that storm continuing to rotate. So we've got that tornado warning updated and extended just outside of our viewing area. I'll put that information on the screen so you can see how long this is until 11:30 p.m. into Pontotoc County. Again, Pontotoc County not within our viewing area, so we will drop off air when we move out of that. But then also we have a severe thunderstorm warning also until around 11 o'clock this evening. Coahoma, Panola, Phillips, and Quitman counties here in northern Mississippi. I'll give you all clear around the Sardis Lake area. You're not going to see any of the tornado threat for this, though we may still have some thunderstorm threats around that area, being lightning and heavy rainfall. We've still got some back-end lightning on that thunderstorm and some decent lightning here across the Coahoma County thunderstorm as well. Out towards the Bolivar area, we've got a little bit of a lightning storm to your south between Grand Junction and Middleton. Non-severe, that'll likely make its way towards Selmer here within the next little while as well. But just want to keep an eye on that tornado warning here into parts of the Oxford area. And we've got a little bit of disagreement of the exact location between the radar sites here. Again, we're looking well into the mid-levels of the atmosphere, about 6,000 feet or more, which makes it very difficult to pinpoint exactly where the tornado could drop down. But it is still something that, that could be possible and could lead to a tornado in that area. But we've had just that area of rotation continuing to strengthen It's just not going anywhere. Please pardon my frustration. Here around Oxford, I'm going to go ahead and say Oxford, Ole Miss campus, you're in the clear. It's moved on past you at this point. It's just going to keep on going down. It looks like it's pretty much right there along Highway 344. So sometimes our graphic system labels highways based only on their state route designation and not by a local name. So I'm going to try and look up on a map website here if that has any better a better name for it here. So this is the road that goes through the Cornish, Yocona area there. Trying to see, it looks like it just labels it as Highway 344 all the way up into Oxford here. So I apologize if I can't get a better name for that route there, but this does go all the way down from Oxford to Toccopola, so Highway 344 there is where we're seeing that storm continue to push through. Looks like we've got an update on that severe thunderstorm warning here. We've trimmed out Phillips County. So Phillips County no longer within that severe thunderstorm warning. We're just going to keep up with this as these storms continue through the next several hours. We'll be here until the end. I'll keep getting water. I think after this this severe weather season here across the Mid-South, I think we should all find a way to boycott the atmosphere. It provides us oxygen, but I think we're all pretty tired of the tornadoes that we've got across this area just this last year. Definitely getting my money's worth out of my career, and candidly, on a normal day, I do enjoy forecasting severe thunderstorms. Like this is what I've always wanted to do. It's what I've always strived for, and nothing brings me more joy than being able to use my understanding of what I have learned to keep people safe. That is why I do what I do. Sometimes the long hours get a little maddening, and it's definitely been the most active severe thunderstorm tornado season that I've ever been part of, and I'm glad that I've been part of ABC 24 and this weather team to help provide the information for some of y'all, help tell some of the stories in the aftermath, especially of the April early outbreak there, early April. So appreciate y'all's support. I will say, just as a PSA, while I have your attention, my Facebook has suspended it, and I'm working on getting it reinstated. But all of the alerts that went out automatically for my Facebook page tripped something, and the AI of Facebook decided to suspend my Facebook page because I was impersonating myself. So unfortunately, if you are trying to follow me on Facebook, you can't there. You can follow me on Blue Sky. I am getting a little more active over on Blue Sky for the sake of that as well. But we've had many thunderstorms here across this area recently. It's looking like that area of rotation it's maintaining itself. It's not really holding together very well. It's difficult to say if it's at the surface a significant rotation, because we're just we're sort of in a radar hole here. This is just one of the, like I was describing, it's one of the paradoxes, the difficulties with radar, but we're in between the Columbus, Mississippi radar you see down there towards the east, excuse me, and the northern Shelby County radar there around Millington. So we're kind of in a hole here. It makes it very difficult to confidently say if there's a tornado or not. If we were able to confidently say it at this distance, it would be a significant tornado. And we just really don't have any of that good firm indication of that rotation there. It's just some weak rotation. Again, this is right along Highway 344, Mississippi 344, where we've got that area of rotation. Paralleling 278, just a little south of 278. This is headed towards the Toccopola area and could continue over the next little while. Looking back towards the Clarksdale area, Clarksdale not really within the severe thunderstorm threat, but Coahoma, Jonestown, Falcon, and Quitman County there, Crenshaw, all within the severe thunderstorm warning there. It's very localized between the Jonesville, Coahoma, Falcon area, southern Tunica County, with that area of severe weather is still pretty prominent. Could be producing some hail within it. It looks more like it's an abundance of hail rather than a large magnitude of hail. But looking back towards the Oxford area here, that hail does look a little more significant within that severe thunderstorm or the tornado warning, which is indicated by radar up to 1.1 inches in diameter. So it may still be some large hail developing with that thunderstorm at the moment, in tandem with the tornado threat as well. The thing is, whenever we have a tornado or a mesocyclone, you've got the rotating updraft, and so that spirals up and can create some upwards turbulence. And so in the core of the thunderstorm, way up here, the tumbling nature of that mesocyclone, the very turbulent storm, helps to keep that hail suspended. Hail is like onions, also like ogres. They have layers. So as the raindrop goes up, it freezes and maybe it starts to fall down. And then it begins to get caught back in the updraft again. More rain and ice begins to accrete on that small hailstone, and it goes a layer to a layer to a layer to a layer until it is large enough that it can reach its terminal velocity within the updraft and it begins to fall. That's the whole process of how hail is formed. And we're seeing that hail forming right around in this corridor here. So if you live along Highway 278, that's the area where we could see some of the hail threats. We could see some of those storm threats. The hail threat, just to get some information from my producer there, we could have the potential for hail along Interstate 2 or Highway 278 and Highway 334 across there in northern Mississippi. That's where we're seeing the potential for the tornado. So just getting back to that velocity signature once again, it looks very sloppy. It's not the most organized tornado warning, but still present, still within our viewing area. Oxford, I'm gonna give you the all clear of that tornado warning. So you are no longer within that tornado warning, so that's some good news for you. The tornado warning remains in effect for Lafayette and Pontotoc counties here until 11:30 this evening here. Back towards the west until 11 o'clock is where we have that severe thunderstorm warning across Quitman County, Coahoma County, and southern Tunica County there as well. So we've got several of those multiple threats here across this area. You can see some of those pink shades showing up in here. I'll use my pointer. Some of those bright pink shades there, some of the pockets of pink in here, that's the actual hail developing. As you see, just as it gets heavier and heavier, that's where we start to get to the end of the scale where we've got that heavy, heavy rain and the hail being developed within that thunderstorm. Just keeping a close eye on that area of rotation. Again, it doesn't look fantastic, but it is still present. We still have seen that area of rotation within that storm wind there. So switching back over to the velocity, it looks like it's got a little bit better of a signature from the Millington radar site here, just as we see some stronger winds moving away from the radar there and towards the radar here. Much of this has been pretty long haul for some of us here around the area. We've had 2 rounds of severe thunderstorms since this morning. We've had a couple lines of storms that came in this morning. We'll just back this up over the last several hours here. We'll just see just sort of a recap of what we've been seeing for the last 18 hours. We had some thunderstorms rolling across Arkansas. By around 9 a.m., we had storms rolling in through Memphis. Memphis proper was never under a severe thunderstorm warning initially. Then those storms cleared out. The models were indicating that we were going to be pretty much done for the evening, but the atmosphere recharged more than they anticipated, sparked off this line through central Arkansas and northern Mississippi. And that's now where we're at here over the last couple of hours. We've just seen that line of storms blow up with intensity and create several areas of rotation far beyond what was forecast. So we're keeping a close eye on these storms as they just continue to convect here this evening. Much of this, of course, is just trending east, slightly southeast as well. So some of that could be redeveloping on the backside. We see there across Panola County a few more updrafts and thunderstorms getting started there. Around the Clarksdale area, we're not seeing really any storm threats for you, but things are going to persist here as well. Helena, West Helena, we're seeing some heavier rainfall there. It looks like just some thunderstorms. Doesn't look like it's going to be severe at the moment, but just given the environment's wanting to prove us wrong, it may still re-strengthen there as well. So we'll keep a close eye on that. But a lot of lightning with that storm as it's getting into southeastern parts of Lafayette County there. I'm just getting that on screen for you. About 183 strikes of lightning within the last 10 minutes here. A report from a storm spotter is that there is a funnel cloud on Highway 334 in Lafayette County. So that is some new information that we're just getting in here, indicating that this is a lower rotation than what radar can see. And anytime we have a funnel cloud, that is one that can touch down very quickly. So I'm going to focus now very closely on this as we're starting to see a better organization represented by what storm spotters can see. So my thanks to James Bishop for having that report here in the National Weather Service chat. I'm going to get some of these roads labeled here. So this is Highway 331, County Road 444, 334, of course, as well. A lot of county roads here. You may know them by a different name, so we apologize if we've got that off. Highway 278, just to your south there, headed towards Toccopola. So Toccopola, just on the border of our viewing area. Thaxton still within, or technically within the tornado warning there, but in the area of County Road 415. So County Road 415 is just right back up here. I'll indicate it here with my little arrow. This is County Road 415 around 334, where that funnel cloud was previously observed. So that's moving right there along Highway 334 here in eastern Lafayette County. So I want to get in really, really close here, see if I can get some of these tiny, tiny roads here to show up beyond just county road names, if there are any county road names that are popping up. It's all county roads. So if you live anywhere between Yacona and Dogtown, if those may be some unincorporated names for some towns. They might be some antiquated names that are no longer in use. I want you to be in your shelter now. Haven't looked at those tornado shelter tips. We'll pull those up once again here. If you are in a mobile home, manufactured home, if there is nearby a storm shelter, now's the time to go to that storm shelter. If you have a basement or a center sturdy room, that is a good place to stay sheltered from a tornado. Covering yourself, covering your head, covering your abdomen, making sure that you have a helmet if you've got it. Get the kiddos baseball, softball helmets, football helmets, bicycle helmets, something to cover your head to prevent any trauma from head injury. Also, if you are in a high-rise, unlikely in this area, just given the area it's in, but as a reminder, interior stairwells, lowest floors of high-rise buildings is the safest place to be. So that is where we have that tornado possibly translating to the surface as well. So we're keeping a very, very close eye on that. Of course, the National Weather Service folks are keeping their information updated. They are keeping us all informed, keeping these storms under a very watchful eye. Looks like that severe thunderstorm warning for Quitman, Coahoma, and southern Tunica County has been allowed to expire. The hail size has really gone down. The hail presence is there, but it's probably melting as it's getting to the surface as those storms are weakening at the moment. I got a picture here from James Bishop, and it's definitely a lowering, definitely a funnel cloud at the very least. There was a tree down reported at County Road 415 and Pebble Creek Road. So that's possibly from the winds of just the environment around the storm, but also could be an indication that the tornado had touched down. So that's the area that we're keeping a very close eye on this evening, and why we've stayed on air still well past our news block. These storms continue to have these cycles of strong phases and weaker phases of potential for producing a tornado, and that's just right there where we've got a little bit of that rotation that could be producing a tornado. Oh, excuse me. But again, right there near the Dogtown area, Dogtown to Toccopola, down into extreme southeastern Lafayette County. I want you to be in your shelter with these thunderstorms. I just want to take a look at the hail, see if the storm is producing much hail with that thunderstorm at the moment. They've given the proper storm report of that funnel cloud has been reported, so we'll look at that in just a moment. But looks like there is some decent hail, maybe up to 1 1/4 inch in diameter, so about the size of a $50 coin. I know nobody carries $50 anymore. I've got a few collected, but that's just shy of, it's somewhere between the size of a quarter coin and a ping pong ball. So somewhere right around that range there. Some large hail definitely getting detected by the radar. I want to take a look at those storm reports here. That's where we've got that, that latest funnel cloud report. Right around the Yocona area is where we had that funnel cloud reported. So the National Weather Service has popped that on the map where we've had. That's, of course, not the only severe report we've had in this area. Of course, a lot of straight line winds came through this very same area this morning. And it wasn't just here. As we continue to pan out farther and farther, you can see how far those storms went. They started across Oklahoma this morning, crossed through Arkansas, a weekend here across the Mid-South, but we still had some severe storms. Then they really blossomed there across the lower Tennessee Valley, or upper Tennessee Valley, I should say, into North Georgia and into South Carolina. Just that line of storms continued to push through all the way into the evening. I wonder if it's still going on there across South Carolina. It has finally died out. So that was the initial wave of storms that we had this morning. Now we have sort of this secondary wave of storms still in the area. So where we've got that hook echo to the border of our counties when we will drop off air, that's got about another 7 miles to go. We'll still keep up with this. It's moving southeast at around 30 miles per hour. So 7 miles into 30 miles per hour, that's about 4. So we got about 15 more minutes of coverage that we'll have here for this tornado warning. Then we will be signing off for the evening. But still have some heavy rainfall here. I don't like the look of that appendage there. So I'm going to just take a look at the velocity here around Marks in Quitman County, just in case it's trying to rotate as well. It's incredibly weak if it is, or if it's just a subtle nuance there, but keep a close eye on that. Here across southeastern Lafayette County, that's where we've got that tornado warning. Of course, we're around 11:07 this evening. That's where these storms are continuing to spin, continuing to to frustrate us here on the Weather Enterprise. But I'm going to check back on the ABC 24 Memphis Facebook page. If anyone is still watching who has any questions, you can ask them there. If you're over on YouTube, we don't have the comments open on the YouTube live stream, but we do have the comments open on the Facebook live stream if you can watch us over there. So we've had some of that here around this area. So many of these storms are just on the edge of severe limits, or just on the edge of our viewing area, and should be gone here within the next 10 or 15 minutes or so. Should hope so. Many of us, of course, have seen some storms here across the Memphis area through the day, but Memphis now is all quiet. Memphis can go to bed. We're not going to see any impacts from that anymore. Selmer, we were talking about Selmer earlier. I had someone asking about, Ashley was asking, Selmer is pretty much done. We're not looking at any more rain. Those storms have definitely wrapped up. But into Quitman County, could still see some small hail moving towards the Batesville area. In Panola County, that storm may still hold together towards Oxford and Taylor, so we'll have to keep a close eye on that, see if that does get a severe thunderstorm warning. Of course, if we are off air, we do have a warning issued in the wee hours of the morning. All that information will be scrolling at the bottom of your screen, and you can also download the ABC 24 app, and you can have that to get any updates on those warning information. I'm going to take a quick break, go get some tea, save my voice a little bit. Kevin McNamara, our anchor, has returned. He's going to summarize a bit of what we've been seeing here across the Mid-South this evening.
Yeah, that's right. Everyone give it up for Kit. Let's maybe get some more of the graphics up there so you don't have to see me on the screen. But we certainly appreciate all the work that he's put in, just being on the air solo for hours like that. Obviously, we're still dealing with these storms here in the Mid-South. Hopefully, they're going to be clearing out here shortly. Again, if we can take a look at some of the radar. Oh, now you're taking a look at our camera from our downtown view. Look straight from Midtown. Looks like a pretty clear night here in Memphis. Skies beginning to clear, as you can see. Certainly plenty of drivers out there. People enjoying their last little bits of Saturday here as we deal with these severe thunderstorms. You can see now some of these things coming across the region. Look at those going east to west here. Looks like that's still down. Yeah, there's Oxford there in Mississippi. As you just heard Kit tell you, it seems like the immediate Memphis area getting relief from some of these storms here. Hopefully that means the end, but you never know with the weather here in the Mid-South. Certainly we're seeing those tornado warnings. Those are always scary, but you can see on the radar, yeah, they're clearing out from the immediate city proper. You've still got some, they're down in the Oxford area, yeah, down in Mississippi, some active rains that we're still dealing with, Clarksdale. Yeah, that's a look at our viewing area here with storms moving out of the region. It's been an active Saturday here in the Mid-South. Certainly this looks like the last bits of it clearing out here in the Memphis area. But storm certainly came and went. You can see it, still the remnants there, moving now through northern Mississippi over into Alabama even, as it continues to move west to east. Yeah, now a wider view, all the way it's moving in, coming in all the way across Arkansas, there into north Mississippi. Some heavy rainfall. Yeah, you're taking a look at the timeline there, across from all the way, really going on, about 4 hours here, dealing with a lot of this severe weather coming in and out. We had the tornadoes earlier, severe weather. We're still dealing with that here, but it does seem like the cell is moving its way out of the Memphis region ever so slowly, but we'll stay with you here until we officially get the all clear. You're looking at, again, some of the radar from here in our immediate area. Yeah, it's moving down through Oxford, Clarksdale, some of those northern Mississippi communities. Still dealing with that rainfall, but Memphis proper, right here in Shelby County, looks like it's pretty clear. We had a busy evening here.
We're taking a look out here at, I'm going to take it back to Max 1 so we can see the radar, the velocity signature just outside of Tocopola there. We're starting to see that getting very close to our borders, where we will be allowing it to sort of sign off. I do have another comment here from Trent in the Helena. Is this next storm from Helena going to be tornadic? Hoping not, for many reasons, but Helena, West Helena area here, that thunderstorm, it doesn't strike me as one that is in a good enough environment to see that. It's really just a very noisy radar signature. We do have a new severe thunderstorm warning. I hit the wrong button, so I apologize. I'll get right back to that. But a new severe thunderstorm warning here across Panola County, Quitman County, into Lafayette County. So dropping that information on the screen here. That's until midnight tonight. So here, I'm going to make a call here real quick. As that tornado warning moves out of our viewing area, we're going to drop off air, but resume coverage on our streaming apps. Of course, on ABC 24 Memphis on Facebook, 24 Plus app as well, the streaming app you can get on Facebook and Roku. We'll resume on air. But this is a baseline severe thunderstorm with very limited, very isolated threats. So we'll let that go. And I will continue to stay around for this severe thunderstorm warning that is here into our southern viewing area on those platforms until that threat is off. But still there around Tocopola. Still want to keep a close eye on that as that storm continues to push east.
got myself some green tea, so I hope that helps to preserve my voice for tomorrow when I'll be back in and through Thursday of next week. So Batesville, you're going to see the impacts from this storm here very soon as well, as that's starting to push into your area. I want to get a heading on this storm so I can track it forward for you. It looks like it's moving 30 miles per hour to the east. So we'll get my line tool here and push this forward to the east over the next hour here. So Chapeltown, it'll be in your area around 11:23. Batesville around 11:32. Eureka Springs around 11:42. Burgess 12:04, and that's after the warning is set to expire. And then possibly still bringing some heavy rainfall to Oxford. We've seen many of these thunderstorms sort of stalling out here across. I say stalling out, the focusing mechanism for them is what is stalling out and leading to these persistent thunderstorms that aren't moving around where we want them to. So just now, starting to move out here out of the Thaxton area. It's not quite in Thaxton, but we do still see that decent hook echo signature. We will be handing this off to the Columbus, Mississippi radar television market as that moves into Pontotoc County there, as it really looks much more disorganized at this moment. So we'll probably carry this until 11:20. So if production needs to let know our partners at the hub. Looks like the National Weather Service has continued that just as a severe thunderstorm warning, allowing the tornado warning to no longer be the primary threat with that. All right, so we will wrap things up in time for 11:20. So if we just get that countdown in my ear when we get close, I appreciate it. But for now, we will keep an eye on this storm here across Panola County. It's just starting to leave Quitman County really on the backside of that. Helena, West Helena had a comment from there. Y'all are going to be in the clear, I think, for the rest of the night. As there's really nothing else back behind this. Everything else is east and south of you. Excuse me. Many of these storms have just been very persistent overnight. And if we do have this severe thunderstorm warning upgraded to a tornado warning, we will cut back in on air for that as these storms continue to just be a pain in the neck, honestly. I guess your throat is kind of your neck, right? But it'll cross over the I-55 corridor, so if you're in Senatobia late at night, I don't know why you'd be traveling late at night down to Batesville, but hold off on those plans if you can. As we could still see some strong winds with that. So looking at the models, just seeing if there's any recent data that's come in. I want to see just if they have it a better representation. It really doesn't look like a better representation of what is happening now, but it does refire another line of thunderstorms there across northern Mississippi after 1 o'clock. So I guess we'll be sticking around to see if that happens or not here in the next several hours here. We've got about 30 seconds left on air. We're still going to be on YouTube. We're still going to be on Facebook. We're going to take a pause from continuous coverage there. But if you are watching us on air, thank you so much. Of course, you can watch us on Facebook and on YouTube. You can ask us comments on Facebook. And you can also download our streaming app on Amazon, Fire TV, Roku, and Apple TV. I'm meteorologist Kit Thomas. Have a safe night. Wonderful. All right, got the all clear from on air. We appreciate you all sticking around with us here this evening. Once again, we're going to stick around. I'm going to have my microphone muted. I'll probably pop back in every 5 to 10 minutes. So if you are still in this area, we are still keeping a close eye on it. The nature of this is very, very isolated, though. So it's not going to be a very widespread thing. I'm going to grab a snack and grab something to drink as well. And we'll have this graphic full screen on the stream as well. And we'll be back in about 5-10 minutes or so.
Hello, Facebook and YouTube streams. Meteorologist Kit Thomas here, back at it again. I am keeping a close eye here on this severe thunderstorm warning around Panola County, around the Batesville area. So we get a little pause on that. We've got still that area of some small hail in southwestern Panola County showing up on the radar hail estimation. It looks like it's estimating around 3/4 inch diameter hail, so maybe 2/3 inch hail there. So decent sized hail, not necessarily severe, but it could still be undercut, not quite catching the full scope of the storm there, but also could see some strong winds. The thing is, this is moving west to east, so it's not really catching the radar at a good angle, so it's perpendicular to that. So it kind of is unknown how fast those winds are. Once again, that tornado warning was replaced with a severe thunderstorm warning, moved out of our area, and no longer a threat for our viewing area. We do have that severe thunderstorm warning here in Panola County, into also parts of Yalobusha County to the south there, into Lafayette County, parts of Quitman County there on the northern edge, but southern Quitman County has sort of been trimmed out of this warning. This is until midnight. We've got another 25 minutes or so on that severe thunderstorm warning. We'll keep an eye on it. We're going to keep on doing another 5 to 10 minute update here and there, and then we'll let you know when we're all clear. Hello once again, meteorologist Kit Thomas here, still on Facebook, still on YouTube, still on the 24 Plus app on smart TV streaming. Still keeping an eye on some of these thunderstorms. There's been some reports of nickel-sized hail in parts of Pontotoc County. That's, of course, outside of our viewing area, but then into Panola County, we're starting to see the storm drifting a little more south, so less and less in the direction of Oxford and more in the direction away from our viewing area. So we appreciate everyone who has been watching us this evening, who still is waiting for some more updates on this. Of course, we are off air at the moment, but we still have our stream running for the duration of this severe thunderstorm warning that is in northern Mississippi. We've had a lot of these storms over the last several hours here that have just sort of been very persistent storms that haven't quite wrapped themselves up yet. We see here over the last 2-hour loop, just this complex of thunderstorms came out of Phillips County, Arkansas. It's had a couple of severe thunderstorm warnings since it formed initially, and this is the latest one here into our southern viewing areas. This is just down I-55 south of Batesville. The backside of this, here into the Falcon, the Marks area, that's not severe. The severe is more for the Pope area and to the south, headed towards Water Valley, south of Taylor. This current severe thunderstorm warning, I'll pop that information on your screen just so you can get a track of it. So that's until midnight tonight. Max hail size was increased to 1.5 inches in diameter. The severe thunderstorm watch that's in place across this area is until 2 a.m. We're going to wait until there's no more convection in our viewing area before we head out this evening. Hoping that's before 2 a.m. for my sake, because I'm tired. But also just hoping so that we can all go to sleep, get some rest, and be done with the severe threats that we've got around the area this evening. So for Memphis, we are pretty much done. Looking like a few just little spray showers are moving there from Tunica through northern Tate County towards Holly Springs, but non-severe at the moment. Hoping that those don't turn into anything more, as we have started to really decline in the amount of energy that we've got left in the atmosphere this evening. But most of that hail threat is beginning to move out of our area. Again, we'll stay on our streams until that warning is canceled, and we will drop off stream from there. But we'll still be around just in case we have to hop back on. For now, I'm going to go ahead and put it back to full screen. We'll be back in about 10 minutes when this storm is wrapping up, and we'll watch as hopefully the last severe thunderstorm warning of the night is allowed to expire.
We are back now at 11:59 this evening. Of course, we did see that that new severe thunderstorm watch was issued. Severe thunderstorm warning was issued just out. So I've got my own microphones up. Issued heading outside of our viewing area now. And while technically we do have still that corner of the severe thunderstorm warning into parts of Panola and Lafayette County, with it moving away from us, and the core of that storm now outside of that area there, I think it is about the time that we will allow this to get behind us for the evening. So coming up here on midnight, we're going to wait for that last warning to drop off. But for anyone that you know in Coffeyville, that warning does have golf ball sized hail in it. There's the last bit of that last warning there. The golf ball sized hail is moving towards the Coffeyville area. That's into parts of Yalobusha and Calhoun County and Tallahatchie, Panola, and parts of Lafayette County as well. So several counties there, only two of which are our own here, Lafayette and Panola County. Clear that mess off. But effectively, we are through with the severe thunderstorms at this point, as we see just those storms continuing to push southeast away from Oxford, away from Batesville, away from our viewing area. So we're going to go ahead and make a call, even though southwestern parts of Lafayette County and southeastern parts of Panola County are within the warnings. Effectively, the warning threat is over for you. So we're going to go ahead and call it. So for all of us here at ABC 24, for all of the support that we've had from the National Weather Service, we thank you. I'm going to go get some sleep. Have a good night.